Hello and welcome to the second round of the Virtual Supertech Series 2014 from Jerez.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
And get off the page. I will.
Good evening and welcome to the second round of the Virtual Supertech Series 2014. Like I say, we are here from Jerez. We unfortunately missed the opening race of the season with the broadcast, but we are here today with this broadcast and looking forward to a classic race here. Last season gave us one of the classic races in TPS history, one that actually myself picked out as the advert for TouringProSeries racing. High quality, high stakes, high drama that we saw last season between Keithy and Torborg. But it's a completely new cast this season. We've in fact have no drivers in this season have won races, in previous seasons. All have won races in previous and different championships in TPS, but not within this. So we've got brand new cast, all very exciting indeed. And here to join me and to commentate alongside me is Scott Woodwiss.
Yes, good evening, Ryan. Good evening, everybody. Great to be alongside you guys once again for another TPS Championship. And Virtual Supertech Series always produces fantastic racing. And past the teams and drivers that we've got, it seems to be shaping up to be a pretty great season. Of course, we had the first couple of races, a couple of new comers to TPS in terms of their first few races. And also we had another new one of TPS and Gergo Baldi, of course, had a fantastic race too, the THR. But of course, I guess one talking point, from the fallout from race one is round one is the fact that we are missing one big team in Virtual Supertech Series at least. This is where all the fallout has been from this big piece of news, is that we are missing Precision Motorsports. And I guess, Ryan, you can lead on to that because it's something that really has kind of shaken up the whole TPS throughout all the championships they run in.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they weren't running in minis or in Virtual Touring Masters. I mean, they're running in Carreras as well, with a very limited presence. Where it's really changed up the game is in this series, the Virtual Supertech Series, and all of the drivers who were in position have now moved on to other teams, apart from Simon Kilo, who's racing alone. So we've got Lauritsen, who has rejoined THR 2 years after being discarded by THR for poor commitment to poor attendance. And he's now back in that stable. And the rest of the drivers, John Monroe and Andrew Waring, have gone to Aerostream Motorsport. Now, you may think, oh, well, it's just a little bit of news there. But what's happened is Precision had some very good and well-renowned setups, and as a result of all this fallout, those setups have been dissipated across the whole grid. So now we've got people having these good setups for these cars. Of course, setup isn't everything, you know, but it gives that extra couple of tenths, extra bit of confidence as well. If you know you've got a good setup, you're confident going forward. Even if that setup's rubbish, but you think it's good, you still got the confidence to go forward. It's a placebo, isn't it, Scott?
It certainly is, and this is something I was thinking about before the broadcast, is that you've got these guys like Lauritsen and Monroe, and they've been there, and they've been to Precision, so they know the kind of inner workings, and I've always said that anyone who goes to a team like Precision, they always grow as a driver in some shape or form, whether it's setup knowledge or, you know, the kind of, they're able to kind of, if they're a bit of an erratic driver before they came to Precision, they're able to calm it down and be a bit more kind of calm, a bit more calculated, or just it's pure speed that they build on. And then when they leave Precision, they can then go ahead and then they can take that away. And there's always that kind of that lasting effect from when you've been to a top team. I think it's what you got, what Lauritsen had possibly when he was at THR, because it is they are now, of course, the Precision has pulled out of any TPS operations altogether with their touring car team has now disbanded. Now the fact that you've got these drivers who've moved on, they've now got that vital knowledge and that vital kind of lessons that they've learned from Precision and from the way they ran their team and the way they made their setups. They're now free to share it because they're not bound to anything for Precision there is no more precision touring car teams. So they can go ahead and they can freely go and share that information as much as they want. So, I think it really has benefited for the most part, at least Airstream and also THR, because of course Lauritson's gone in and he's able to help the likes of Gergo Baldi and Robert Wiesenmuller's in there as well, and the other THR guys in there like Rasmus Salo and Juha Tuinen also. But Airstream had a very big benefit because of course John Munro's come in. Of course we see guys like him, Ryan Walker, who's been testing a lot this week and felt very comfortable with the car, and Matt Richards, and they're all up there on the pace, and they could definitely be dark horses for at least a podium tonight.
Absolutely. So just before we go into the qualifying session here for the Virtual Supertech Series, coming up in just over a minute's time here, we're just going to run you through, of course, the great action we got coming up in the TPS in the next couple of weeks, and great action it's always been as well, Scott, hasn't it? The Virtual Touring Masters is happening next Wednesday. You can see that. It's gone from Salzburgring, a real favourite in the Virtual Touring Masters crowd, a real favourite with the spectators as well. It's really fast-flowing track. It provides great racing. What we're finding as well is we're finding lots of different cars having lots of different strengths at lots of different tracks in this wonderful DRM mod as well. So we're looking forward to that. The opening race of the season was won by Ross McGregor, his first ever win in the Touring Pro Series. So surprises galore are happening in TPS at the moment. And then after that, of course, next week we have the big one, Scott, the Virtual Carrera Cup.
Oh, absolutely. Virtual Carrera Cup. This was the one, as we talked about on the broadcast. The hype, as I said at the time, for something like Virtual V8 Supercars was big. Someone's like Cold Clear Series, the hype with that was huge because, of course, the time with Tom and Team Hart. But this has had more hype than any other championship because, of course, it's Carrera Cup. It's based on the Porsche Super Cup, which, of course, is the fastest one-weight championship in the world. And it produced two fantastic and very frantic races at Monza, which were both won by Spade Racing, relative newcomers. But, of course, their lineup of drivers was ferociously strong, almost scarily strong, because the majority of the cars on the grid that they were running were all up there in the top 10. They all have the capability to at least score a podium. So we had wins for Jesper Tolborg and Marius Gollenbeck.
I mean, they already have, they already have the stable drivers of Gollenbeck, and Heinemann and Fangman and Glatter. And then they went and signed Jesper Tolborg.
Yeah, absolutely. They're signing Jesper Tolborg, who is, just by coincidence, the winningest driver in TPS history. So as if their team wasn't strong enough, and have their foundations laid in in racing such as GT racing with these kind of cars, they're going to sign someone who knows TPS like the back of his hand. So they're at the biggest advantage. And if that's what they can do in Carrera Cup, I'm not sure if I'm excited or scared to see what they can do in other kind of championships. So maybe going forward, we may see them in the Virtual V8 Supercars or something similar, which would be great. But yeah, next round of that is, of course, going to be at Lebanon, which is a circuit where, if you look at the circuit track map, just flat, it doesn't look too special. But Ryan, you'll agree, if you look at the actual layout and the undulation and the elevation changes, it's similar to a track like Portimao, but I think it'll provide much better racing because it looks like a much more daunting circuit to drive on.
It's an incredible track. Anybody who's driven Lebanon before will know just how much of a special track Lebanon is, and we're really looking forward to seeing the Porsches battle their way around that track. All 30 cars will be around there, of course, so we're really looking forward to that. That's next Saturday at the same time as this broadcast at the moment. That's at 17:50 GMT. That's 10 to 6 in the UK, 10 to 7 in Europe, and that makes that 10 to 1 in on the eastern side of America. And then the next event after that, which completes our lineup for the next fortnight or so, is the Virtual Mini Challenge. And that will be coming from Cascavel, a double win there for Robert Wiesenmuller last season, and he needs it in the championship after a lackluster display at Jacarapagua Curva. But we're going to go in now into qualifying for this event, and it's Gergo Baldi who set the pace early on. And here, we'll go find him for you. Oh, he's actually all the way in. There we go. We've got a few more drivers join the server just in the last few seconds here. And here is Gergo Baldi. Now, he's taken a race win pretty much on his debut in the TPS after struggling in the first race at Crete with tyre wear, Scott.
Yeah, well, of course, his first official debut, if you could count it in that, obviously was the Bathurst 500, of course, alongside Jesper Tolborg at THR, and that's how his association with TPS started. Of course, those who know him from sim racing may be more familiar with the name from Formula Sim Racing. I know we don't really mention other leagues, but I'll just mention it briefly. Of course, he's been rather prominent there, and he's built up a reputation there as well, been there for a couple of seasons. Now he's trying his hand at touring cars, and to be fair, he's almost taken it like a duck to water. These are very similar cars to the V8s, so Didn't really get a chance to see exactly what he could do because that race was red flagged at Bathurst. But he's here showing the pace that he really can do. He seems to be finding a lot more consistency. But the outright pace that he's showing at the moment definitely shows he is a championship contender. And it's just the thing that THR needs. Someone who has that raw pace. They're trying to find drivers that can fill the void that Jesper Tolborg has left. And I think Gerger Baldi is certainly one of them. If not the only one, then possibly one of maybe 2 or 3 which they're starting to bring in, which could definitely make an impact and just show that even though Tolborg's gone, they're not necessarily missing him and they're not necessarily suffering as a result.
What's interesting as well, I find with these cars is that we see quite a few ex or current FSR drivers driving these cars and in this championship over the last year or so, and they've all taken to these cars. Well, pretty much all of them are taken to these cars like a duck to water. I mean, what do you think it is about these cars? I mean, they've got huge wings on the sides of them, Scott, but I don't think they produce a huge amount of downforce. What is it that makes them so comfortable for FSR drivers to come across? Because you see them in other cars come across and not do so well.
I think probably because of the fact because they are more purpose-built race cars. If you look at something maybe like the Virtual V8 Supercars, they do have a kind of a space frame kind of chassis, which is kind of more based on the production car in some way. But of course, nowadays if you look at real V8 Supercars, it's more the car of tomorrow. So it's a specialised chassis, but I think it's still, in some ways, correct me if I'm wrong, it's still loosely based on the production cars. Whereas these are more purpose-built chassis, like the FSR cars run. Of course, they're more akin to purpose-built single-seaters. So, of course, they're fairly lightweight, they're fairly bog-standard. I think they run flat floors as well. So, of course, they're producing quite a lot of amounts of kind of downforce from the bottom of the car, not necessarily from the wings, but the kind of flat bottoms are helping on that one as well. These cars I've always seen, they're kind of a nice kind of hybrid of kind of V8 supercars and DTM with a bit of NASCAR thrown in there as well. So there's elements of all 3 of those series in there. You've got the big V8s in there, of course, the DTM with the kind of slightly outlandish aerodynamics, then the kind of simplicity and the bog standardness of the interiors and the kind of the bulky kind of more brashness of like you get in NASCAR. These are effectively silhouette cars, not based on production cars. That's probably the reason why they're more akin and drive people with FSR.
And they're all the same underneath as well. I mean, they look slightly different. You've got the Chevrolet here in Oscar Harwick, and you've got the Peugeots as well. But they're all the same underneath. They just have different body shells. So very much like many series at the moment. I mean, V8 Supercars, for example, it's all very very similar underneath. NASCAR, all very similar underneath. You've got Solution F, all very similar underneath. NGTC is even going that direction for VTCC. So all the same kind of chassis underneath, but with a different skin. That's all you're seeing. So all the cars are exactly the same. There's no advantage to driving the Chevrolet over the Peugeot. But speaking of the actual action on track at the moment, Oscar Harwick's running very fast indeed. It was his debut in the VSS. We're doing lots of testing though. We've been watching him on the server. But Gerger Baldi has immediately dipped into the 48s with his opening laps. That's a great performance from him. So Harwick in second spot. You had 2 and 9, and he looked dangerous at Curitiba in both a good and a bad way, it has to be said. He is fourth at the moment, but Kilo actually has just inched his way up into third spot. He won the opening race of the season at Curitiba, so it was a Kilo and then Baldi. There's a bit of harsh words between Kilo and Baldi after the race at Curitiba as well, but it was since found that the words were not really needed, and apologies were given on both sides as a result of that. It stemmed from a move by Baldi. Baldi's already on the inside at turn 3 at Curitiba, but those are familiar with turn 3, and Kilo didn't quite see him. There was a contact, and that ended up spinning both Kilo and Lasse Sorensen as well. As a result, Lasse Sorensen, unfortunately, is not with TPS anymore for this winter. But Ryan Walker going very quick at the moment. He's gone into second spot, and he's looking like one of the dark horses here. One of the Aerostream team who have got a new lease of life with this new setup, injection of new drivers.
Yeah, definitely. And Ryan, I saw he's been on Facebook, of course, and he was talking about the fact that he's done a lot of testing. And as I touched on earlier on, he is someone who does a lot of preparations. He moves out of the pits and almost runs with Lewis McGlade there in the Smile Power Peugeot. But he is someone who is very committed to sim racing. He loves it a lot. He's very well rounded. He does a lot of. He's a little bit what they call like an all rounder. So he does do quite a bit of single seaters, but he does do some tin tops and touring cars. He's done some V8s as well. But he also does quite a lot of endurance racing, whether it's in GTs or in prototypes. And I know he's recently racing in an endurance league. Running GTs, and it was actually one of the new shape Vipers he was running in for, I think it was Satellite Racing, who I believe have a car in this championship also as well.
Also, Harwick, in fact, is driving for them this season.
He was supposed to be, yeah, but of course he's now switched to Aerostream, and I think it's all for the better because he was saying that he did a lot of testing this week and he felt very, very comfortable with how the car was. As we've got a couple of cars going purple, we've got Gerger Baldi and Eric Strana. We'll keep an eye on those in a moment as we watch Oscar Hardwick. But yeah, Walker's definitely, as I said, a dark horse for at least a podium tonight in this race. He's currently sat on the front row for race 1, so with about 2.5 minutes left to go, if he can keep himself there, he's out there running some laps trying to kind of sustain that second place. But drivers like Eric Strana and Gerger Baldi are definitely showing the pace at the moment. And as
I remember
Aerostream.
Well. Yeah, Aerostream looking very quick. And he used to be quick actually. In fact, because he was second fastest. He's about down to 8th at the moment in the actual qualifying section. So he needs to pull a lap out. Aerostream have never had a podium in the Touring Pro Series, so they're looking to build as a team, and they've benefited from the togetherness they've had in that group, and also the drivers they signed here. As Strana stays in 9th at the moment, won both races in our last broadcast in the Virtual Mini Challenge at Jacarapagua Curvasol to take the lead in that championship. But these cars are a very different proposition despite being on the same game. We'll now track Alexander Lauritsen, resplendent in this royal purple number 48. And he comes around and he's just down on Gerger Baldi. It's pretty good still, wouldn't get held up. Petzl gets out of the way very nicely indeed. He's got 2.9 ahead of him. That's number 90 ahead of him. 2.9 might be able to help in here. And Kilo's going faster also as well. But let's watch Lauritsen as he comes now through the final chicane. Very tricky through there as well to get the power down and around through here. Some drivers have been debating where to use the push to pass on this track also as well. Some think it's out of that chicane. Oh, Lauritsen's gone too deep. He's gone too deep. Oh, he'll get another go though, to have another go at this pole position, but that was a little bit careless and very uncharacteristic mistake there from Lauritsen. Let's go with Simon Kilo. Here he is. He's purple through the second sector as well. 0.109 up was what 189. I couldn't quite see my screen here. As he now comes down towards the chicane. What do you think, Scott? You're going to do it?
Quite possibly. He's obviously a very talented driver, very quick as well, as he's proved won a fair few races across his time at Precision. The fact he's now going it alone means he's going to have to try and run solo and just kind of see what he can do. But into the final corner he comes. Better line this time than Lauritsen. Wasn't as wide. Takes a late apex on the exit
Not
as
difficult.
well to try and get the traction down.
Not difficult to be a better line than Lauritsen. He's going to come now under that lovely structure architecture there, and he goes third. He goes third. So obviously something went wrong in that final sector. He looked a little bit hesitant in the chicane, I have to say, but he's third at the moment. That at least puts him in the correct place. It looks like Danny Asprey's going quickly now as well. He's 0.051 up on Baldi at the moment. Everyone seems to not be able to match Baldi through that final sector. Let's see what Asprey can do. He's really got his mojo back. He had a couple of great results at Curitiba after struggling for more than a year really with his car and his new setup. He's changed back to a Logitech wheel as opposed to a Fanatec wheel, and this is the reward he's getting. Lots of people going green and purple at the moment. What can Asprey do? He's run far too deep there. Oh, he's going to get a nice cutback though, but that will be a little bit too deep and won't get quite all the time back on the straight, I wouldn't imagine. It's going to be a 49.214. He goes third, so he'll be really pleased with that. Kilo is out of track still. He's going faster again. So is Adrian Holm. Where is Alexander Lauritsen? Here he is. He's going towards the end of his lap now. He's on green. That means he's faster than his own time, but he's not faster than the pole time at the moment. Oh, he's pushing very hard indeed. Almost went off again. Almost went off again, Scott. So Alexander Lauritsen here is losing his cool, and I don't even think he'll improve with that mistake. He doesn't.
No,
he stays ninth.
He doesn't. He stays ninth. And we said he was quick in practice. He was second quickest in practice. And the fact was he completely missed the apex on the exit of the final corner also. So, you know, the fact that he was just pushing so hard kind of got the better of him. And it means now that he'll have to start from the bottom end of the top 10, potentially alongside this man, Eric Strana, because he's only 10th. But he's on his last lap. He's on a personal best. As Adrian Holm goes second.
Very nice indeed.
So Holm has bumped Walker off the front row. And
Strana was only just behind Baldi going into the final sector, by the way, but he made a big mistake in the chicane. Went very, very deep, and I don't think he's going to improve as a result. That chicane is proving crucial here, Scott.
Certainly is. Strana comes across the line, and he stays 10th. So he will start 10th, but currently Asprey and Keelov are both on purple sector at the moment.
No, they've gone back into the pits now.
Laps. They're on.
Yep,
that's fine. So the session's then over, and Gerger Baldi takes pole position for THR, of course, but Adrian Holm, in some ways, that's a pleasant surprise. I think he's been getting better and better, but now he is part of THR. He certainly has turned the corner in terms of his pace and his overall speed. And second place on the grid alongside his sister teammate. Cracking result for Adrian.
It is, and he was not feeling very confident ahead of his race either. So he'll be pleased with that good starting position. He said he had to rely on his racecraft for this race because he didn't feel like he would qualify very high up. So that's pretty impressive there from Adrian Holm. He's really pulled that one out of the bag. So there is the grid for you. First and second is Baldi and Adrian Holm. We've got third and fourth, Ryan Walker and Danny Asbury. Who would have predicted that at the start of the season? That Ryan Walker will be third in the grid along with Danny Asbury challenging for those pole positions. Simon Kilov and Juha 2 and 9 in there as well. Who's just left from 7th spot? That's rather annoying. It's Alexander Lauritsen. It's Wiesmuller in 8th, with Lauritsen in 9th and Strana in 10th. So on the 6th row, we've got Paolini and Richards. On the 7th row is Tveit and Munro, with the 8th row being Andrew Waring and Kevin Angwin. Just behind them is Heinz Petzold, the South African. And then it's Lars Brugman, then Palmer, then Erzen making his debut in the VSS after he made his TPS debut last week in the VCC, and that's the Virtual Carrera Cup, of course. Lewis McGlade there, he plays for 20th spot actually, in fact, beating the likes of Cervic, Navarro, Blaze, Tocco, Warren, Draska and Gary Lennon out there also as well. So well done to Lewis McGlade. He's improving ever more as a driver as he comes through the TPS ranks as well. So now we're just going to take a quick break. We'll be back with a little bit more discussion ahead of the race.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Welcome back to the Virtual Supertech Series as presented by TouringProSeries.com. Don't forget that you can follow us on Facebook.com/TouringProSeries and also on Twitter.com/Touring_Pro. You can also subscribe, of course, to our YouTube channel, YouTube.com/TouringProSeries. In fact, you may already be watching this on YouTube, Scott, because we got all our broadcasts going there, don't they?
They do indeed, including the one which recently went on, which is, of course, the Virtual Mini Challenge. There was supposed to be a live broadcast, but unfortunately me and John couldn't get it quite working properly, even though we tried. Of course, you tried to give us some hand as well, but unfortunately the broadcast software didn't want to play ball so much, so we had to record it offline, and of course then it got uploaded before. But yes, every race which we broadcast live here on MultiPC and of course live on this broadcast does get uploaded to the YouTube channel, so you can subscribe, and basically it gets uploaded pretty much straight away, doesn't it, Ryan, after every race. So effectively
within a couple of hours broadcast.
It does. So every time if you have missed a broadcast for some reason, don't fret, because of course you can catch it on the YouTube page. You of course do that, and of course you can keep up to date whenever races are taking place, of course, on Facebook and on Twitter as well. So Facebook.com/TouringProSeries, and on Twitter @Touring_Pro. Be sure to give us a like, give us a follow, and of course subscribe on YouTube and keep up to date.
Indeed, and if you're watching YouTube right now and you're not subscribed, press the button. Thank you very much. Facebook also as well. We've got over 1,000 likes on Facebook, so join our over 1,000 fans on there. And many thanks to all the people that make, of course, this racing possible. People that make the game, for example. We often don't thank them enough for that. You know, without Riser Studios, without ISI in the first place, Image Space Incorporated creating the R-Factor, the G-Motor engine, you know, these championships wouldn't happen at all. So we've got to thank the actual people who make these games and make the racing and the shows possible. Of course, there are many other people that we need to thank apart from that as well, but those are the main guys. So that we'd have absolutely nothing, Scott, as well. Of course, we should probably thank Bill Gates for providing those windows, right?
Yeah, I should have thought so. Yeah, I don't think we'd probably get the same kind of results on Apple. No offense to anyone who uses a Mac, but of course everyone who races on TPS are PC users. So unless Riser Studios can do something to change the G-Motor engine that works on a Mac for all of us, then unfortunately, I say unfortunately, I don't really mean that, but we are tied to using Windows, but hasn't done us wrong too much, has it, Ryan? So I guess we can be thankful for that.
I wasn't really looking for a debate about the
no,
about the virtues of Windows over Mac. I was just really being quite facetious. So we'll also praise Tim Burnham for inventing the internet as well. and God for creating the world. I think we'll.
If you really want to go that far, I guess we can stretch to that.
Exactly. we'll thank Adam and Eve and stuff like that. Anyway, right, moving back to the racing here. We've
And
gone
the
off on a
solar
tangent.
system.
We've gone off. Yes, we can't thank the solar system. I'm not sure it has any choice. Anyway, we're just getting too silly now. Anyway, back to the racing, because we are now going to go into the race, and the drivers are gridding up for this race. And that means we have a formation lap here as well. We have a formation lap. Not only we have a formation lap, we have, for goodness sake. 1 second. If you'd just like to continue on, Scott, what were you second here?
Yes, not a problem. Cars are gridding up at the moment, so of course we're getting ahead of two 19-lap races here at Circuit de Jerez, and the circuit itself, as they lead up onto the grid, is a circuit which has been around for quite a while. It's opened actually back in 1985, and of course it's hosted events such as the Spanish Grand Prix and the European Grand Prix. It was of course the scene of the infamous 1997 World Championship finale between Michael Schumacher and Jacques Villeneuve, and of course we know what happened there if you're around and watched that. Of course, Schumacher tries to turn on Villeneuve, didn't quite work, Ferrari got stuck in the gravel trap, Villeneuve was champion, job done. So that happened, and of course it's now a home to one of, I believe it's 4 Spanish MotoGP events, and of course I know in fact that the final corner is actually named now after Jorge Lorenzo, so it's now called Jorge Lorenzo Corner. So a final turn now adorns its name to a current MotoGP world champion. So cars are on the formation lap, and it's intriguing to see how Gergo gets on. Of course, Gergo, as we know, very quick. Of course, he's getting used to life in touring cars and seems to, as I said, adapts to it incredibly well. Adrian Holm has come on very strong also in second place. I think since he's joined THR, has definitely seen him improve as a driver. And of course, Ryan Walker and Danny Asbury, they're going to be definitely ones to watch. And if they can mix it up and get a good start in the fight in the first couple of laps and keep themselves amongst the top 5 and in amongst Bowdy and Holm, they could definitely spring a few surprises. We are currently riding on board with Gary Lennon at the back of the field. This is the view if you're starting 28th position. 27 mobile chicanes, whether they're Chevrolets or Peugeots, makes no difference, because Ryan, of course, has pointed out they're all the same base, same chassis, so they just run different kind of bodywork over the top. So whether or not you are running a Chevrolet Sonic or a Peugeot, whatever model it is, it's a Peugeot. It's something something. I guess I can't put the finger on it. So, but nonetheless, the circuit itself, it's a very flat circuit. So of course, I guess it is more akin to circuits that have flat curbs are more used to kind of motorcycle racing. So there's not really big curbs to launch the cars across, and that's not necessarily a bad thing for these kind of flat bottom cars, because of course, if you try and launch stuff over curbs in a place maybe somewhere with huge curbs, but let's take purely Montreal for example, with the huge mounds they've got on the last chicane, you could definitely cause quite a bit of damage to the suspension and of course to the underbody. So as we said, the cars are now starting to form up onto the final couple of corners towards the grid, and of course we have to watch out for a few guys who are maybe a little bit out of position but are going to try and squeeze through. Look at current track conditions, because they never really changed, but I'll have a look at them in a moment, at least if I can find them. Track conditions
No track conditions. There's none at all. We're in a vacuum.
There's no such thing as weather atmosphere in the world of games.com. It's just life.
We do have it. We do have it. It looks very hot, I would say.
It does, yeah.
That's what we'll say. It looks very hot.
As you'd expect in Spain.
Exactly.
So, but anyway, cars are on the grid. So
they are
we're
indeed.
going to wait for the lights to come up. Of course, we'll know because the view will in a second switch to Gergo Baldi from in-car, and then we'll be ready for the lights. 19 laps ahead of these guys, and getting ready for the start. So here they come then. Ryan, all yours. Here comes the start.
And Gergo Baldi there on the front row. It's a standing start here for the second race of the season. And away from the grid he goes. A great start there from Gergo Baldi, and a good one also from Adrian Holm, should I say. Another great one from Ryan Walker. And Kilo there up into third spot as well. He's just challenging Adrian Holm. Holm just chops him off. So it's THR 1-2 at the front. Kilo in behind. 4th spot, Ryan Walker just about managed to recover that. And in 5th spot is Danny Asbury. 2-9 is being pushed wide by Oscar Harwick in the 6th spot there, as you can see, now coming through the sweepers round the back of the circuit. They're side by side through here. You don't want to be on the outside through there. You do not want to be on the outside, and Harwick is finding out that the hard way.
And I did see there was a bit of an accident off the start as well. I think one car lost its front splitter, so obviously someone's out there struggling without any downforce, but they're coming onto the back straight for the very first time, down towards the dry sack hairpin. You can see we're looking now currently at Oscar Harwick, who has now got Eric Strana all over the back of him in 8th position. So now looking on board now from Eric Strachan as they head into the hairpin, and Oscar has a look up the inside, and Tuinen does leave a bit of room, but not enough to try and get up on the inside. So they head to the left-hander back towards the pits of the second half of the circuit on the first lap. It seems as though that all Tuinen running a little bit wide over the curves. That could give Oscar Hardwick the opportunity he's looking for. He's running wide again, and Oscar's trying to get his nose of that Peugeot up the inside, but the Chevrolet but couldn't quite get it done.
Yeah, what we see at this track a lot is that the track switches back the other way. Once you've got a run, you then got to go try and get the inside for the next corner, but of course your run gives you the outside for the next corner, so that's the problem you get there. So Strachan right at the back there, Richards giving a bit of a nudge, and in behind also as well, Lauritsen giving a bit of a nudge. So Lauritsen has not made any ground up at all. He's in 10th spot still, stuck in behind Matt Richards. Richards is mixing it with the big boys here today, as is, of course, Gerger Baldi himself, one of the big boys, along with Adrian Holm, Simon Kilo and Ryan Walker, as he comes out the final corner.
Tuinen ran wide at the final corner, and that's now giving Strachan the run off the corner that he needs, and he'll have the toe on Hardwick down the pit straight. This is going to be pretty crucial. So can Strachan make the move and outbrake Tuinen on the outside of the THR Blues? Going to try and stick that inside line, but into corner Expo 92, I think that Strachan just about got it done. He has. So
just a bit of a nudge.
Was there contact?
A nudge there from Tuinen on Strachan. I think Tuinen's going to let him go back through. Look, he is. He's not forced the issue.
Through as well.
That's
and so also
driving at least.
He is up there, and Larrett is also up there as well. So this is a great battle going on for 7th. Of course, Strachan won the informed men in TPS at the moment. Of course, he won both races at Jacopagua, and of course near the end of the summer championships, of course, such as the Clios and the V8s, definitely on form, winning a few of the final races in both of those championships. But look at the gaggle of cars at the bottom end of the top 10, squirming, scrapping over positions as the field files its way down the back straight towards Drysack again. And Lauritsen has the run this time. Well, that's Matt Richards, and I think that was Strachan up the inside of Tuinen as well.
We just saw Keeler there was challenging Holm for that second position, but I think Holm's taking it back once again, and yes, he has. So number 33 is ahead of Simon Kilo. So the front three are pulling away a little bit now from Ryan Walker, who's in 4th spot. Johnny Asbury is putting Ryan Walker under big pressure here also as well. He wants to get on with it. I can tell Danny will want to be getting on with it and getting along with the guys at the front. Oscar Hardwick running very well in his Virtual Supertech Series debut at the moment, in 6th spot, with Strachan is in 7th. Lauritsen is now up to 8th, so he's taking advantage of something happening with 2 and 9, and 2 and 9 is back to 14th now, so 2 and 9 has made a mistake somewhere, and he's now back in behind Lars Brugman as another piece of wing goes flying off at the chicane there. So 2 and 9 and not had a good start to this race.
I think just looking back also, the man who lost his front splitter at the start may have been Brandon Warren, because he's about 19 seconds off the back of the field. The entire field, with the exception of Brandon Warren, is spread by about 20 seconds, so it's still fairly close at the moment. And now looking way back at Lee Palmer back as well. 26.
Looks like he's got a puncture.
Also.
Yeah.
That's that puncture. Yeah, puncture for Lee Palmer then. So car 56 in a while. Oh, that's someone off as well. Who was that?
Kevin Angwin. Oh, goodness me, what's happened here? Kevin Angwin has
there was 2 cars off. I think was there contact. I think with
some kind of contact there.
Draska? No.
Maybe Ernie Draska. I'm not quite sure who it was. It looked like, but maybe Marcelo Tocco actually, who is in that yellow car. It could be Marcelo Tocco or Draska. I'm not quite sure.
Quite possibly, but Draska's still in 18th place, and Draska now in 25th. But back at the front, Gerger Baldi's now extended his advantage to 1.2 seconds, and Holm has now gapped Kilov to now 1.4, and now Kilov falling to clutch to Ryan Walker now for potentially a battle over 3rd place. Now looking for the side of car 95, the Aerostream car. Also, I think for the Winter Championships, they have got one of the best looking liveries to date, because you've got the lovely kind of the kind of carbon fibre effect with the kind of the black and the gold, and kind of the dark kind of royal blue as well with the white stripes and the Aerostream sponsorship. It looks absolutely fantastic with this car. It's one of the better looking cars on the grid. Of course, the big black, gold and white Union Jack on the top of Ryan Walker's car as well, and he's of course holding station by about 1.2 seconds ahead of Danny Asbury. Again, as we we're saying, finding form. Now he switched to that Logitech wheel from Fanatec. He switched Allegiance as a wheel, if you want to call it that, or something similar to that.
And for those who are wondering about the Fanatec wheel and why it makes a difference, because the Fanatec wheel is a belt-driven wheel as opposed to the motor-driven wheel in the Logitech, and it gives a very, very different feel. Some people prefer the Fanatec, some people prefer the feel of Logitech. So obviously, we see Asbury has because he's used to Logitechs, he's gone back to that, and that is is what he's now comfortable with, and it's reaping dividends for him as well, as we see Gergo Baldi set the fastest lap of the race in first spot at the moment. So we got Strana now is up to 6, so that means him and Lauritsen have both passed Hardwick. So these two guys are picking the field off one by one. They picked on Hardwick.
Certainly have, and Hardwick's now dropped back already to a few. But look at Strana's
around! Oh, in the
Strana
wall!
lost it on the exit of the
on earth happened
left-hander,
there?
and that has spelled disaster. Absolute disaster for Strana, and that was purely, I think he just took too much outside curve through the exit of a left-hander. Let's look at the replay, and yep, understeered wide, and look at that. And soon
It's
you
already
get the
slided,
wheels onto that curb.
Already sliding.
Yep.
And then Lauritsen, I think Lauritsen would give him a helping hand because he's so sideways. Yep, there we go. Oh, maybe,
Yeah,
I think they had a slight touch from Lauritsen. Nothing Lauritsen going to do there. With Strana out completely sideways, and that's a collision course. And there's the collision.
The trouble is, once you get that left rear onto the curb, because they're so slippery the curbs in some cases, it's almost inevitable. You can try and counteract it, but you just wait. Was that Tuanian problems?
Oh, who's that? That's 2-9, yes it is.
Tuanian problems at the exit of Drysack. So what on earth happened there? He's lost a few more positions. He's now down to 7. Well, he's coming back
straight
to Strana
back
now.
down the inside of Eric Strana. He may have been losing positions, but he hasn't lost that many positions. That taking out Strana straight away. So Strana will have big damage on the front of his car. He'll lose quite a lot of downforce in front of these cars. They do generate quite a bit of downforce with those big wings. Not quite as much as those wings suggest, but they do generate quite a bit of downforce, and that will be hurting Strana throughout this race. So if he gets anywhere near the top 10 of the rest of this race, he'd be very lucky.
Oops.
Oh, it's Tocco gives him a little bit of a hurry up. Hello, I'm here. And Tocco carries on in behind the Italian ahead of Lewis McGlade.
Just decided whenever. No, I'm not going to mention that. I was going to say something about Tocco's name and Samsung phones, but I won't go on to that. That's completely irrelevant. Anyway, I said that there is a phone called a Samsung Tocco. That's what I thought would relate to it.
Well,
anyway,
you weren't going to
back
mention it, so let's not mention it.
That doesn't relate to it at all. Get back on track, Tom. Come on. Right. So looking at from the side of Danny Asbury, he's got a brilliant view of this battle for third place between Keelov and Walker. And Walker's doing incredibly well. We said he was, as we said it quite a few times, said he's felt very strong, did a lot of testing this week, and it's certainly shown, because look at that, he's all over the back of Keelov as they come out of the right-hander, out of the curve of Cito Ponds, and onto the back straight towards Drysack. And I wonder if he's actually swarming all over the back of the Chevrolet down towards the braking zone. And I think Walker's going to try and brave it around the outside, but Keelov will have the better run over the curves on the exit of the right-hander. They'll now head through the double left-handers of 7 and 8. And at the moment, Walker is definitely seeing he's got ultimately the better pace, but Keelov maybe feeling a little bit of pressure here. Maybe the fact that he's running on his own and doesn't have any teammates, so to speak, or any allies in any case, to help him out here. Maybe just feeling the pressure a little bit up in third place. So the pace is there, but maybe I think Walker's seen a strategy that if he rattles Keelov enough, he will force him into a mistake.
And it's a great performance from Walker. Remember, the guy he's challenging at the moment, Simon Keeler, won the opening race of this season and has 12 TPS wins to his name. That is an incredible amount of wins for in the TPS. It really is. It's hard enough winning one race, believe me. To win 12 races, Kilo has done fantastically well, and Walker has been all over him. A small mistake there through the chicane, as I say that, and Asby's all over the back of Walker as a result. Now, it may have been Kilo's used the push to pass through them. Asby did also as well, and Walker did not. But there's different areas on this track you can use a push to pass. For those who are not familiar with the push to pass, you get it for 10 seconds, 80 brake horsepower for 10 seconds. In fact, it might be 8 seconds actually. In fact,
Wiesmuller on Hardwick.
Wiesmuller down the inside of Hardwick, because watching that those gaps, and there's a bit of a tap, and Wiesmuller sideways. Hardwick now coming back at him. Wiesmuller on the curb, trying very hard indeed. Hardwick's there, giving each other room. That's good racing. That's good racing. And Wiesmuller comes out on top as Hardwick ranges back on the back of him now through the long left-handed through this track. Very hard on tyre wear this track.
I know these cars don't produce much downforce. THR Red Machine and Robert Wiesmuller is looking rather nervous next to the corner, and so is Oscar Hardwick sideways through Cito Pond.
See how much they're trying.
Absolutely.
And this is where the inexperience in these cars, I think, for Hardwick is coming in, because he hasn't got quite the experience in these, which means consistency is down, and that means he's losing positions as we go through this race. Remember, he's running 4th early on, and was running a strong 6th. He's now back to 8th. You've got Monroe and Richards trying to gain also as well. Richards has dropped a position to Monroe, I believe, but Brugman is having some good performances through here also as well. It's good progress. He's up to 11th, with Dino Paolini also as well, quietly there in 12th spot, the number 12. Very fitting.
Absolutely, and also one thing I was going to say about Oscar is the fact that he has done tin top racing in some form. I remember again, sorry to mention another league, but he has raced over at GPWC in a couple of Tin Top Championships. They did the World Sports Series, which is a Porsche Carrera Cup based championship, and also more recently, I believe he was also racing in the ITC, the International Touring Cup. So he is experienced in Tin Tops, but he's obviously not experienced anything this kind of power and these levels of grip combined, obviously at once. So of course he's just adapting to racing in the TPS Championship in the Supertech Series. Of course, he is part of the also Virtual Carrera Cup, where he did win. He was on course to win race 1 at Monza, but then had some problems on the last lap, I believe. But he did win race 2, so I'm pretty sure it's not going to be too long until we see him in
we will
Division
just
1.
mention that was in Division 2 he won.
Division 2, yeah.
Yes, he won those races.
Hence the reason why I said it shouldn't be too long before we see him in Division 1, because that's...
Yes.
So... But
Oscar Hardwick, remember as well, obviously very strong in Porsches, had won the championship at GPWC in the Porsches, but it just goes to show the strength. I thought I was going to do another Strada, and he just caught it. And Hardwick straight back down the inside. I could just mention about Hardwick, now Wiesman's going to come back on the exit as well, one would imagine. No, not quite. But Hardwick was a championship winner in the GPWC Porsches, and he could only qualify in the 40s, pre-qualify in the 40s. For the Virtual Carrera Cup in TPS, and he's Division 2, and he's gone straight on here also as well. Ooh. And that just, I'm just trying to illustrate is how strong the TPS championships are, Scott. For somebody to win a championship at somewhere like GPWC, who is quite, is a well-renowned championship, and then come to TPS and only qualify in Division 2.
It just shows just the caliber of competition. Again, nothing taken away from GPWC. It's a very fun and competitive league, and Oscar finding out just how hard it is to handle these cars the hard way. He's now got John Munro, the rapid young Scotsman, all over the back of him in car number 40, in car number 32. And now looking now from the side, all these fantastic camera angles we have, looking out from the right rear, looking forwards at both Oscar Hardwick in that Chevrolet, and of course then the THR Peugeot, Robert Wiesman, the THR Red. Of course, there's 4 teams taking part in the Virtual Supertech Series for THR. Of course, they have red, blue, purple, and green. All the colours of the rainbow, almost. They tend to kind of go in kind of rainbow, kind of like primary kind of rainbow colours anyway. But down the pit straight they come, and Munro's got a slight run on Oscar Hardwick, but not enough, I don't think, to probably make a dive.
Very difficult to make a dive in turn 1. It's uphill braking zones. It's uphill braking zone, so that the braking zone is much shorter than it appears, and it's very difficult to get a out-brake manoeuvre done as a result. But now he's got the position down the inside. Oh, Hardwick's right there. Oh, beautiful stuff. Just about giving us enough room there. Hardwick couldn't turn into the corner because he had such a narrow angle there after Munro passed him, and now he's in an Airstream sandwich here. As Hardwick pulls out, he's going to go for it. No, not quite. Munro holds position. Hardwick continue to slide back in this race, Scott.
He is. He's still trying to adapt to these virtuals for these Brazilian V8 stock cars. But look at Matt Richards. Brilliant run from Hardwick, going around the outside. He's going to take both of them. They're going to be 3 wide as Hardwick switches to the inside, almost out of control. He's hit Richards.
He's out of control. He's hit Richards. He's hit Richards. Dear. Richards gets it going again. Hasn't lost a position, I don't think.
But Hardwick
hasn't.
Look at that. He's dropped way back into
Where
the gravel.
Where has Hardwick gone to? He got 13. So out of shape on the brakes. Here we go.
Yeah.
He got out of shape on the brakes, hit the back of Munro, and then speared across and hit the back of Richards. What on earth happened there? He's then out on the dirty stuff and gets stuck in the gravel, has to get going again, lost himself more positions. So he's back to 13th spot. Richards didn't cost himself a position in the end, but Brugman now, this was after the incident, Brugman has gone down the inside of Matt Richards, so Richards has lost a position overall. He's lost that position to Lars Brugman. He's back down to 10th once again. Through no fault of his own, really, but Hardwick obviously didn't mean to do that. Just a little bit out of control on the brakes. At the front of the field, Danny Asbury has got past Ryan Walker for that 4 spots. As I say
wow.
He's now under massive attack as Walker goes back down the inside of him, and here comes Alexander Lauritsen.
3-way scrap for the final podium. Well, this is for 4th, 5th, and 6th. And is that walking a little bit deep into turn 1? I think he may have done. That may have given Danny the run, but it looks like Walker did have just enough of the room through the first corner to hold on to that position. Now looking forwards from Lauritsen, rather giving Danny rather a lot of hurry up, saying, "Come on, Danny, get on with it. I want to get forward to the field." Didn't qualify as well as you did, so I'm trying to actually make for it now in this middle of the race as he's getting slightly sideways on the exit of the left-hander. Now through the Cito Pons corner. And whereabouts is Danny Asbury? There he is, back on the outside, because Lauritsen forced his way up the inside through Cito Pons corner and gets the job done, for now at least, into P5, but Danny's got the slight toe and will have the better racing line because Lauritsen is forced to go defensive into Drysack, and it seems, even though that was the case, it seems to have worked. So Lauritsen is up into P5, and now he is free to challenge Ryan Walker, who himself is trying to keep Simon Keeloff in his sights. He's 1.3 seconds up the road, and of course now he's got to cope with both Lauritsen and Asbury, who's starting to struggle a little bit now at the moment. He's got to see the gap into about 4 seconds.
See the corrections on that front wheel there as he goes around the corners. It's really struggling with oversteer on that car. And Lauritsen, one would imagine, is going to get Simon Keelow, his very good friend. Keelow has not had any good pace at all in this race. I mean, he's still running third, that's fantastic. But compared to what he would expect to be, he's now 8.5 seconds off the lead of this race. And Baldi is continuing to pull away from Adrian Holm. It's a THR 1-2 at the moment. It's a THR domination. Baldi there for THR red and Adrian Holm for THR orange. As they come around, they are 4 seconds ahead of third spot Simon Keelow, and 4 seconds between those two as well. But the big battle is here. Ryan Walker now is going to do a big hurry up. This is what it means to be racing with the big boy, Scott.
Certainly does, and Ryan's now going to try and find out exactly how difficult it is to defend from Lauritsen into turn 1. What kind of run has he got? We can't see exactly where Walker is. Is he still in front? No, he's behind him now, because he makes the move into turn 1, but Walker will try and get the run on the exit to be up the inside for the next corner, turn 2. Which is the Michelin corner, and he's trying, but I think he's managed to help make it stick. So another place for Lauritsen, and this now means he's up to P4. Now the next question is, what will he make of Keeloff in third place, and just how courteous is Keeloff going to be to his now former teammate? Because of course now effectively Keeloff was a precision driver, and of course now effectively Lauritsen has gone to, in Precision's case, of course they were the enemy. So how's this going to go down? Of course, Keeloff, Lauritsen could be interesting, even though they are friends. They might be friends off track, but Keeloff, Lauritsen may be just another rival.
It could well be the case, but I would doubt it. You know, they're both very good friends indeed, and Keeloff needs all the friends he can get at the moment because he can't find a new team because people are unwilling to have him in their team after the problems Precision and other teams have had with Simon Keelow. So he's found himself ostracised from the TPS teams at the moment. That's why he's running as an independent currently. So I would very much doubt he would be dirty with Lauritsen, because that means he would lose one of his friends as well, even though they're not a teammate anymore. But I think Lauritsen is definitely going to catch Keelow. I think the question here, Scott, do you think Lauritsen, with the pace that he's showing, can he catch Adrian Holm?
Well, we're on lap 10 of 19, so that's maybe a bit of a hard task. But as I said, never say never, because of course we have seen more extreme things happen, stranger things that happen in TPS, and sometimes they usually do. So we're on to now lap 11 of 19, so he's got 8 laps to close down effectively what is now to go across the line to get the gap again. 8 laps to close a 10.7 second gap, so he's going to have to lap considerably quicker than both Baldi and Holm.
To Adrian Holm. Adrian Holm's only 5.5 seconds, isn't it? So
yeah,
do you think that's possible?
So,
it's possible. It's about 7 tenths a lap, isn't it? So it's difficult. If you get past Keelow quickly, then you've got a chance, surely.
Yeah, it's difficult, but not impossible. I think if Lauritsen's got some slightly clear air, he's not immediately behind Keelow, so he's not caught up in the dirty air from the back of that Chevrolet. So he's not necessarily losing any front end grip. So effectively, this is a nice small little gap he's got. But because when he gets right up underneath Keelow, as he's seeing now, just squirming to try and get the rear end planted on that Persian as they head onto the back straight towards the Drysack hairpin. He's not filling the deficit from the dirty air from behind Keelow, but of course when he gets really close in, that's when it'll start to hurt him, because it'll hurt the front tyres. You know, the air's not going to be moving around the front splitter as quickly and as cleanly as it could be, so that's probably going to what's been holding him up. So the quicker you dispatch of Keelow, the quicker you can get more clean air, and that means the chance of catching up to Holm to make it a nice 1-2-3 for THR, almost a photo finish in some cases, the better his chance would be of that. But of course, first of all, he's got to make light work of his fellow Dane, of course, in front, Simon Keelow, to get this job done.
He's lost time on this lap so far. He's lost a tenth of a second. He needs to be gaining time, of course. Tenth is not very much at all, but of course he needs to be gaining that time, as drivers use lots of curb at the chicane. Reminder that the curb is completely allowed to use, so don't worry about that. And but Keelow seems to have got himself together now. He's got Lauritsen behind him. Lauritsen not chewing into that lead like he was doing when he was chasing Walker and Asbury. Big battle on track at the moment is Matt Richards and Lars Brugman. Actually, these two have been swapping position a couple of laps, seen on the timings, a couple of times on the timings I've seen over the last couple of laps. And these two are locked in battle, both very young guys. Matt Richards only 14, I think maybe 15 in fact actually now. That was forget, the time goes by so quickly. I'm so old. And Lars Brugman is only in his mid-teens also as well, as he goes down the outside of Matt Richards and looked like a bit of a push to pass and a bit of a decent brake manoeuvre there also as well. So the Dutchman, he goes through. Lars Brugman is tipped as one of the stars of the future in Touring Pro Series, and Matt Richards is coming good also as well, the further he gets into with his experience.
I have to say that I'm not sure what's going on with Oscar Harwick. He's back in P11, but he's now got he's outside the top 10. But he's now got Dino Paolini bearing down on him in P12. Do you think possibly that there's possibly damage to Oscar's car, the fact, or either that, or the fact he just hasn't got himself a setup that's working for him in the race? It seems to.
I think it's the experience of the consistency.
Possibly.
Obviously, the consistency then gives you higher tyre temperatures, which gives you higher tyre wear, as Matt Richards goes back down the inside of Lars Brugman. It's a fantastic race, these two at the moment. But of course, remember, Harwick did drop positions behind these guys because he was obviously wide while these guys are going through after that mistake. In fact, I think he was probably a little bit lower than that. Somebody else somewhere has made a mistake, I'm pretty sure. Maybe it was Scott Surley, because he's in 30th at the moment. Scott was happy with that, actually, in fact, because even though he's the second last of the Airstream guys, he's still in a good, solid position. He's in the top half of the field. Eric Strawn there is in 14th. He's slowly but surely clawing his way back through the field, but it's a long way back for him, unfortunately, after that mistake. We saw him make a mistake in the Virtual Carreras in the final lap of the race as well. Went from 2nd to 9th. So, well, in fact, he would have been 4th if he just stayed on the track because he was just being passed. But some costly mistakes from Eric lately in these powerful rear-wheel drive cars. Heinz Petzel, not mention him too much. He's in 15th spot at the moment. Oh, some damage on the side of his car, it looks like. Bit bent there on the side skirt. And Andrew Waring. Sorry, he's not. It's actually him who's second last of the Airstream drivers. Cervic is in 4th of those guys. Andrew Waring in his new team for Airstream and has not really raced these VSS cars very much at all, and is struggling a little bit here. But Lewis McGlade in the 17th spot, Scott, he's doing really well indeed. I'm really impressed with his improvement from the first round.
Absolutely. Well, I can actually tell you, he does actually race, I believe, on a pad on a Microsoft Xbox 360 controller. So to be 17th and to be ahead of guys such as Juha Tuoainen, who I'm not quite sure what's happened to him. Of course, he was quite strong up near the front, but of course he's dropped quite a way back. He's back down in 18th place, and he must be struggling with some damage or something that's forced him. But the fact that he's not really closing in that much on Lewis at the moment makes me think that possibly Juha's just struggling with something, some kind of problem. But yeah, shout out to Lewis. He's definitely getting stronger and stronger, and the fact that he's racing on a pad makes it even more incredible. So hopefully he can continue to.
I was winning races on pads. Come on.
I can't say the same. I've done some races on pads. The highest I ever qualified on a pad, I think, was for GPWC Supercar. But I qualified 10th, which wasn't too bad in the pad. But then I hit someone and dropped the fielders. We've got. There's
so many Airstream cars. I keep mentioning that someone's second last. In fact, he's. I'm just looking. Is that? It's Kevin Angwin we saw earlier in the barriers in the race.
Kevin Angwin, yeah.
But Martin Blaze is just behind him. We've got Thomas Erzen for company, who's ranged up on the back of him now. He's going to make a move. He's not.
Not close enough.
So Canadian Martin Blazer holds on to the 19th spot. Brand new name to the Touring Pro Series, Martin, and enjoying his time at Airstream also as well. Looking forward to see how he progresses as a driver. And Andrew Waring in the wall.
Oh dear.
Andrew Waring in the wall. What has happened here? Oh, goodness me, what was
big
that?
Big oversteer moment.
That is the end of Andrew Waring's race. As his bonnet reappears, which is nice.
He's torn a front wheel off that one as well.
What happened here? He's gone through. He's gone on the grass, look.
He's gone over the curb.
Oh, that's
just over the curb and spat the car sideways.
Oh,
straight to the scene of the accident, that one. Big impact into the wall. Car's going nowhere. Especially the fact it's lost its front left wheel, so you can't replace those in the pits.
Oh, the tyres feel the screen.
Just as it comes closer. That kind of sight as the tyres come closer. No, please don't. Bang.
Back to the front of the field.
Yeah. Front of the field though, Gerger Baldi 6-second advantage over Adrian Holm in second place. And now look at the gaps that Keelov has now got. Should have Lauritsen all over the back of him. He does. So that didn't take too long. It's now lap 14 of 19, and Lauritsen then shaping up Keelov.
Keelov as well.
Sideways.
Oh, Lauritsen hit the curb on the inside and got his car out of shape, and Keelov was wide on the outside. So both making mistakes, and Keelov looks quite sideways, doesn't he?
Yeah, that car's moving around quite a lot under braking. Well, not that's just the setup he's got on the fact that his tyres may have burnt off a bit too much, but You see Lauritsen is now trying to give Keilov the hurry up as they head towards chicane. I believe this is called the Ayrton Senna chicane, which they use mainly for kind of car racing, and also when F1 do testing here, they do use the chicane. Lauritsen
and that's why you don't use too much curve at the chicane. That's why you don't use too, because the track drops away under that curve to stop you cutting the track, so it completely upsets the car, and you see exactly what happened there.
Oh, Keilov sideways at the
again under the
hairpin,
brakes.
and he's trying to
Does anyone have a push to pass here?
Trying to get the power down in the slipstream. And where's Lauritsen going to go? Well, he used to push the pass also down towards the Expedition 2 corner. Will he try and outbrake Keilov down the inside? No, he won't. Or was there contact? I'm not sure, because Keilov's car's moving around, but they're both moving around, in fact. And of course, Ryan Walker must be thinking, am I watching racing? We're watching these two cars dancing here, because I'm not quite sure what on earth's going on here at the moment. But
what would you call that dance, Scott? What would you call that dance?
A potential dance of death if we're not careful.
The Danish Shuffle?
Danish Shuffle, possibly.
We'll call it the Danish Shuffle.
Let's call it Danish Shuffle. It's not quite the Swedish Shuffle, like Ricardo Rydell, where you actually
well, it takes
pass.
2 to tango, so maybe it's a Danish
does.
tango.
Oh, Lauritsen trying to get inside through Cito Pond's corner, but not quite there. But you said it does take 2 to tango. Of course, Rydell's move, the Swedish Shuffle, was him moving to the left and feinting a move, but and then making the pass around the outside, so you have the inside for the next corner.
Shall we call it the Danish tango then?
Danish tango.
I like the Danish Shuffle better. I think Danish Shuffle sounds much better. We'll go with Danish Shuffle. It's a better word.
But it's not quite a shuffle, because they're shuffling around. We're not actually changing places, so the tango is probably the better term.
Okay,
anyway,
you got a good point though. So it's Danish tango. So we settled that.
Yeah.
It's a Danish tango. That move under braking is a Danish tango move. Okay, so
I think we've had enough dancing euphemisms for one day. I think.
Well, it was your fault.
For the moment.
Anyway, Lauritsen is there in 4th spot. He's still trying to get past his very good friend Simon Keilov, an ex-teammate, of course. Oh, down his side. No, not going to happen this time around. He's really looking for a spot, though. I very much doubt he'll get up to Adrian Holm now as a result of this battling. He hasn't gained any time at all on Holm as a result. But look who's ranging up on the back of Danny Asbury. It's Robert Wiesemuller, just slowly but surely is closing that gap. It's only 1.2 seconds behind Danny Asbury now. Looks like he's looking after his title a little bit better than perhaps the guys in front of him.
Quite possibly. I mean, Robert's been quite silent through this race. He's kind of not been on the ultimate pace of the cars in front, but he is now just starting to slowly claw his way back towards the front runners, towards the top 5. So Danny Asbury's going to be his first target. Of course, John Monroe in the background also there. Some 2.8 seconds back as Wiesemuller hangs the tail out on that Peugeot.
Oh, we've seen that a few times, haven't we? After he was passing Hardwick, for example.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. These cars obviously are very easy to get the tail out on, of course, because they have quite a lot of horsepower, about some 480 to 500 horsepower. And of course, they're very lightweight as well, because of course there's hardly anything in them. Of course, they're of course space frame chassis and everything. They've got big, huge V8s. There's of course we've got just the roll cage and the necessary kind of electronics that you need in the car, but everything else, of course, is stripped out like a purpose-built race car should be. But now we're looking here. Brugman is now just holding off Hardwick for the moment. So Hardwick's found a little bit more pace.
He has. Moving forward for the first time in the race.
Yeah, but he's now going to try and make a pass.
I think he had to push the pass there, perhaps.
Dry sack. He
get it stopped. Get it stopped, Oscar. Don't do the same thing you did earlier.
Yes, he can. So
gets
into the top 10 goes Oscar. So for once at least he's actually moving up to the field rather than losing places. So
that's the first time I've seen him go forwards. That's good.
Yeah, he was marching towards the back of the field for the first half of the race. Now, so just near the end, where probably he's looked after his tyres a bit better, he's starting to claw his way back up. And one man he's also trying to claw his way back up is Eric Strana, who's just got around Scott Sovic for 13th place. But who knows how much higher he could have been had he not made that earlier mistake where he nosed it into the wall.
Well, he seemed like he was as fast as Lauritsen, didn't he? And Lauritsen's fighting for third spot at the moment. Yeah. So, you know, that's where he should have been, you know, one would imagine. And back towards the third spot, Lauritsen down the inside of Keilov at the final corner. He's done it as Keilov, more Danish shuffling out the final corner. Danish tango, should I say. But if he's by himself, it's just a Danish shuffle. Okay, so Ryan Walker is in 5th spot, still looking at this battle. He's really doing very well here. Very impressed by Ryan Walker. This is probably his best drive. He does have a TPS podium to his name in the past, but that was a race with David Junt in the V8s in 2011 at Bathurst, when he came 3rd alongside David Junt. During that one, he's not had a podium by himself.
So we'll see if he can change that, and Keilov I think will be keen to try and reclaim that place as he's moving around in the braking zone through Cito Pond's corner. And also looking behind, you can see Ryan Walker's just on the back of them, and on in the background is that Wiesemuller passing Danny Asbury, I think it is. They're side by side onto the back straight, and it's now a pure drag race between these two Peugeots down towards the dry stack corner. We lost them a late breakers. If Wiesem Muller's going to be trying to last them, I think Danny may have moved across. There may have been slight contact, but look at that. Wiesem Muller just got him back on the exit. So Wiesem Muller I think he ducked, realised that possibly waiting for Danny to go a little bit too deep into the corner, and when Danny did so, just popped it back up the inside on the exit and straight back into. He's now up, of course, into 6th position. So we can look back at that now on the replay, and there was a bit of contact there, forced him wide, and there's the job done. So Wiesem Muller, let's see what he can do in these last couple of laps to close in onto the back of potentially Ryan Walker. Because of course Walker, of course, if he's the fact that Lauritsen and Kilo are battling so much.
Kilo off.
Kilo's gone.
Kilo's off. That's
stopped.
it. Stopped. He stopped on the track. This is a replay of what's happened. What's happened here?
Is it disconnection?
Oh, he's disconnected. Disconnected. Look.
Yeah, disconnection.
Oh, and he's got going again. So something has happened there. Not quite sure what.
Must be a screen freeze. Screen freeze, maybe. No,
he's back in.
What? It must be lag. It must have been a lag spike. Must be a lag spike that caused it. Well,
he's done it again. Look, he's dropped again. Look, he's dropped again. So this is not going well for Sammy. He might drop at any point during this race. We've seen this a couple of times from Sammy Kilo's connection in the past, and most notably ATCC at Watkins Glen in season 5. And when he was in the lead of the race, he disconnected about 3 times in the final lap and gave the win. I think it was to Miguel Nato, and about 5 occasions during that race. But Gergo Baldi is on the penultimate lap of the race at the moment. He's leading by 7.2 seconds from Adrian Holm, who's leading by 5 seconds from Azan Lauritsen. Kilo seems to have sorted out his connection now, so any heart-stopping moments for Ryan Walker and Robert Wiesem Muller, thinking they will get 4th spots, not going to happen, and they've all spread out once again. So Monroe is in 8th spot. Hardwick is in 9th. He's got ahead of now of Matt Richards, so he's moved forward once again. So after those early troubles, it's come good for him at the end of the race, which is a little bit strange. But Richards and Brugman still in this heated battle. It's been a fantastic battle between these two. We've seen no contact at all, several passes, and they've really shown each other plenty of healthy respect on track. I've been very impressed indeed by these two guys. Eric Tveit, by the way, not quite sure where he went to, because he did qualify, didn't he? Oh, his suspension damaged the start of the race. Actually missed that. And of course we saw Andrew Waring off the track with big heavy damage. Lee Palmer, didn't quite see what happened to him, and didn't see what happened to Tocco either. We saw what happened to Angwin though, that's why he's so far down the field. And Navarro there in 23rd spot as well, with Brandon 22nd, who had I think hit somebody off the start line, and Gary Lennon there in 21st spot. A bit of a miserable run there for Gary Lennon. He qualified right at the back of the grid also.
So now we're seeing, I think, what could have been with Oscar, that maybe he was just possibly conserving his tyres a bit in the first part of the race. So for it to try and come good in the second half, it seems to have worked a little bit as I think was that Oscar a little bit sideways, or someone was sideways somewhere.
Brugman was sideways throughout the
Brugman was sideways through the chicane.
Lost himself lots of time there. Look at that gap now.
He has lost several car lengths, in fact, look at that. So that's not worked out too well for him. But we're on
Paulini into the pits! Paulini into the pits on the final lap. He must need an extra bit of fuel. Oh, this has been very careless if that is the case. I'm not even sure if you can refuel these cars. I can't remember if refueling's allowed in these races. He could be out of the race as a result.
Either that or possibly could be possibly a puncture if not. Oh, hold on, what's happened? No, Holmer's close to 4.6 seconds to Baldi.
It's the last lap of the race.
I think Baldi must have backed off because he
so
wants to get a photo finish.
I think Baldi's just bringing it home now. Baldi's been a fantastic race. So Paulini has now come out of the pits. I think he's rejoined 14th spot, so he's only lost 2 positions in the end. So that was a pretty quick pit stop from him. So it was worth doing rather than risking going right to the end and not finishing at all. But Baldi has put on a masterclass here. We're not seeing too much from the Hungarian in this race, but he is now going to win his 2nd race in a row in the Virtual Supertech Series. It remains to be seen what can be done, I think, by Lauritsen in particular, if he qualifies well in qualifying 2, see whether he can challenge Baldi. He seems to be the only driver who can in here, but Baldi has been fantastic so far. This has been 2 wins from 4 in his TPS career, 2 wins from 3 in the Virtual Supertech Series 2014 season so far. And THR will be delighted with their new signing.
Yeah, definitely. Gerger's definitely been very impressive, taking to touring cars like a duck to water, and after a win in Curitiba in race 2, he's about to make it 2 in a row here at the first race at Jerez. Great drive. And
Danny Asbury has run out of fuel at the end of this race also as well.
No.
Oh, unbelievable. Danny Asbury run out of fuel.
But anyway, Gergo.
Yeah, back to the front of the field. He wins the race. Gergo for THR Red and Holm for THR Orange. And then we have Lauritsen for THR Purple. So 1, 2, 3 for THR. And 4th spot for Ryan Walker. Fantastic result. for Aerostream
As
Motorsport.
Keeloff stopped. Is that Keeloff stopped on the pits just at the beginning of the pit straight? He is.
There he is.
Out
He's
of fuel.
stopped, out of fuel as well. That could be because we had a formation lap and a standing start, rather than the formation lap, manual formation lap, and a rolling start. So people have obviously underestimated on their fuel there as a result.
Yeah, that's a shame. But a few more cars coming through. So John Monroe 6th, Matt Richards 7th, Lars Brugman up to 8th, Oscar Harbuck finishes 9th to get a couple of points as well, and Eric Strana in 10th after his earlier mistake. Scott Sovic up to 11th. Dino Paolini actually still finishes 12th, despite the fact he pitted and lost 2 places. So the fact that both Asbury and Keelov both ran out of fuel means he actually makes those positions up. Petzol 13th. 209 and 14th after his troubles earlier on. Lewis McLeod 15th. Shout out to him. Great job to capitalise on that. 15th place for Lewis. He should be very pleased with that. Great result from the Smile Power Racing driver. Thomas Erzen in 16th. I think we've still got a few more cars to come through because the field was very spread out. And a few more cars, but it's just been classified now. So quite a few cars actually didn't finish. We've got Asbury and also Martin Blaze and Simon Keeler all running out of fuel. Also, as well, so now Gary Leonard's popped to 18th. So a lot of guys think miscalculating the fuel usage. I think that's Brandon Warren who came across the line after his troubles. Yes, 19th. So pretty fast and frantic, but you have to admit, domination from THR. Look at that, 4 of their cars in the top 5, and but THR Red take the most points because they are up there with a win. And of course, THR round up the podium 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Couldn't ask for a better start to the weekend.
They could not, and will remain to be seen if they can do the same in race 2. And qualifying for that second race is coming up after this break.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Hello and welcome back to the Virtual Supertech Series for the 2014 Championship, Round 2 from Jerez. Some very interesting storylines from Race 1 there. We're now going to go into Qualifying 2 for Race 2, but some very interesting storylines there, Scott.
Most definitely. I think, obviously, a great win again from Gergo Baldi, 2nd win of the season. Definitely, as you said quite a few times, that he has now really starting to adapt and work touring cars in his favour. Great job at Awesome Adrian Holm, a fantastic 2nd place for him to pull that one off. And a great drive from Alexander Lauritsen to get 3rd, but of course, who knows what he could have done had he qualified higher, as we pointed out. Big shame to both Simon Keeloff and Danny Asbury, who ran out of fuel on the last lap, so they could have had fantastic results. And Ryan Walker, I think, after all that hard work testing, I think, to be fair, 4th place is very well deserved. He should be incredibly happy with that, and that will give him confidence going forward into race 2, because he can definitely see that he's got the pace to potentially challenge to grab himself a podium if he can get amongst those THR cars off the start. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But Also, Eric Strana struggled a little bit with his mistakes early on. I think also drivers like Oscar Hardwick definitely came through, obviously, in their first TPS races, just adapting to life in this kind of league and seeing what it's like. Of course, they're racing other championships. So, lots of storylines to cover, of course, but I think the main thing, of course, that Gergo Baldi's definitely setting the benchmark and putting in a firm campaign to potentially become the VSS champion for this season and only the second race.
Indeed, and we've seen plenty of action in that that first race. What was the highlight for you, Scott?
I think it was just the battles that were going on all the way down to the field. I think that there were quite a few battles that you could look at. I think, the one between Brugman and Matt Richards was quite exciting to look at. I think also the fact that the charge from Lauritsen through the field to get himself into third was great. Of course, in many ways, it's hard to ignore the fact that Gergo Baldi was so dominant. I mean, he won by some 5 or 6 seconds. It could have been more had he really pushed until the end. But at the end of the day, it was absolutely fantastic to see. I think possibly Adrian Holm get a podium as well, also in second place. I think that's a lot of hard work, and he came good, especially near the end of the Virtual V8 Supercar Series when he was partnered up with, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he was with Eric Strana. So of course that's the reason why he was so quick, because of course he was running with the Ice Cold team, and now he's at THR. He seems to have found a home and seems to have really found some pace. So he's doing that THR orange car justice, and who knows what he could achieve in the remainder of the season. If not, he could potentially, if he can keep up with Gergo in the second race, maybe challenge for the victory. But if not, I'm sure another podium will definitely be on the cards.
I remember Lauritsen came into this race leading the championship ahead of Gergo Baldi, so he'll be wanting to make sure he doesn't lose any more ground in this championship fight. We're about to go into qualifying 2 here for you also as well. So qualifying 2 is coming up, Scott. Who do you think is going to be in pole position?
It's going to be a tricky one. I think Gergo Baldi showed very strong first single lap pace. He was the only man in Q1 to break into the 48s, so it's hard pressed to look past anyone. And the fact that it was so close in qualifying, there were about 4 or 5 drivers that all set 49.2, so it's going to be pretty tricky. I think from second down to 6th, or the rest of the top 10 is going to be very close and very hard fought. But I think pole position, unless anyone can pump in a quicker lap time than a 48.9 again, and if he can repeat it, I think, honestly, I can't look past Gergo Baldi once again. He is the man in form, especially in these kind of cars, and I think that potentially he has got the pace to take pole once again.
Many drivers were very close to getting that time away from Gergo Baldi. Didn't quite manage it, especially that final sector, it seems. So we'll have to watch out for whether they can do the same here now. Well, the qualifying is underway. We'll quickly go through what's coming up in the Touring Pro Series in the next 2 weeks or so. And the Virtual Touring Masters from Salzburgring, round 2 of Season 5 with the DRM mod, is coming next Wednesday evening, as you can see there, 7:45 in the UK, 8:45 in Central Europe, if you want to watch along with that. Of course, if you can't make it, you can catch it on our YouTube channel, as you can with all of our broadcasts. Next week is the second round of the Virtual Carrera Cup, this time from Lebanon, after a fast and frantic, a very interesting round at Monza. We now go to Lebanon for round 2 of this huge championship, sponsored by GamePod.co.uk once again, who've given us fantastic support throughout the last year or so, the last 18 months or so in Touring Pro Series. And then after that, a week on Tuesday is Castellgravel for the Virtual Mini Challenge, and Wiesemuller took a double win there last season, like we were talking about earlier. He needs to do the same thing once again to put himself back in the championship hunt, with Strana and Butcher walking away with it at the moment. We're not walking away with it, but having a decent lead early in the season at least anyway. I'm looking forward to that because I'm back in form, Scott, as you noticed.
Yeah, definitely. It's great to see you back at the front with Walk Racing. Of course, 1 or 2 incidents throughout the field, but great qualifying in race 1, I have to admit, to get yourself on the front row. Of course, it has been a little while since you've been at the front, but it's good to see you back up there nonetheless. It's just a shame that for Castellgravel I won't be around because I'm having to have got some work commitments, so unfortunately you have to be someone else in the broadcast booth alongside John, but I'm sure whoever you get, I think you said you're possibly going to try and get Keith Barrick, of course, is the man who does look after, I think, league comps of the Virtual Touring Masters, or he did at least for Spa at least. So I'm sure he'll do a fantastic job alongside John in my place. And I will also try and be around for the round after that, which is, of course, I believe around, looking at the calendar, must be Velo Park, which is the street circuit that the minis are going to run on. So I think some 30-odd minis bouncing off the walls in around the streets of Brazil is definitely going to be quite a riot, I would have thought, quite literally, because I think minis bouncing off the walls could be quite unpredictable and rather dangerous.
They're only travelling at small speeds though, so there's nothing to get too worried about. Now we're into the qualifying section here as people are starting their hot laps, and here is Gergo Baldi. He was on pole position for the first race. He won the first race at a canter, and Baldi's looking for his second pole in a row here, and to make it 3 wins from 4 in this season as well. He's dominating the season at the moment. THR, of course, benefited from the precision setup also as well that come from Jack Keith as well, so they were already strong at the first event of the race, and now they're even stronger as Gergo Baldi and Adrian Holm showed us, and Alexander Lauritsen, of course, coming in to bolster their driving force. I think if Lauritsen qualifies well, then we will see a great race for the win here. Lauritsen and Baldi seem to be the only people to have consistent speed across the race, consistent race winning speed at least. Adrian Holm finished second in that first race, but didn't quite have, never looked threatening. Oh, and Baldi was very, very sideways, slideways, you could almost say, through the back end of the circuit there. I doubt this will be a 49 this time around, but Adrian Holm, although he was quite close to Baldi, he never looked threatening, did he, in that first race?
No, I think it's because he got caught up in quite a bit of traffic and, of course, caught up in some battles. But once he was able to get through into the clean air, that's when he was able to show his true pace. And, of course, if he can manage to get himself near the front and keep out of the way of any of the battles that go on in the early couple of laps and the first few corners of the first opening laps, then he should be fine. It's Gergo Baldi getting sideways through the final corner on his hot lap. That certainly will have ruined it. I don't think it's going to be a 48 at least. It will be probably a 49 of some kind. Across the line he comes, and it's still a 49.3, so not a bad lap time, but still Alexander Lauritsen has pumped in a 49.126 to go faster. He's going faster still because he's gone purple in sector 1 by 0.04 of a second. And Yuha 209 is up there in second, a 49.307.
They qualified well last time, didn't he? But dropped during the race, which is what happened at Curitiba.
He did, yeah. And obviously, so if Yuha can keep himself out of trouble, as you're saying about Alex, if both these guys can keep themselves out of trouble, they can definitely put themselves in contention.
Problem is, Yuha tends to be the trouble. That's the issue here.
I think THR need to rein him in a little bit, just like give him a bit of slap on the wrist and say, "Come on, Yuha, you need to kick it into gear a little bit." I think he's a relatively new name to THR, I believe. So of course he's still trying to learn the ropes with there. As Lauritsen's still up by half a tenth, so he's found a 100th of a second in the second set. So definitely showing he has got some ultimate pace. So this could be on course for possibly a 49.0. So this could be quite
he's gone too deep into the chicane though, completely missed the first apex. It ruins the rest of the chicane for you and therefore the exit. So I would doubt this lap will be quicker unless he made a mistake on his previous hot lap as well in that same place, because that was a bit of a big mistake into that first part of the chicane. It really ruins, as I say, the rest of it for you. Alexander Lauritsen now going to come across the line in just a second here, and we'll see exactly where he's going to be, and he does not improve. As I was saying, there's too much time through that chicane. Adrian Holm is purple through the first sector, as is Danny Asbury. Adrian Holm, what can he do?
Danny goes
second. There you go, almost taking that pole position, provisional pole position at the moment. So 49.164 for Danny Asbury, very quick indeed. Adrian Holm is just behind Lauritsen at the moment, 0.04 of a second. He needs to get a nice, clean, tidy run through the chicane. That's nice. A little bit too much curb. It bounces the car up in the air. Unsettled a little bit, but
Oscar Harbeck's on 6th.
So Harbeck into 6th there. Holm is in 7th at the moment. He's on a green, of course, but he's not quite purple, but it's only 0.04 behind. Come down to the final corner now. He slides it in, gets a decent exit, pushing hard. You're really going to wind these cars up on the throttle because they're very understeery, very heavy at the front of the car, and use the back end to turn the car, and a 49.090. Wow. He takes a provisional pole at the moment for Adrian Holm. Remember, he qualified very well in the first race also as well, in fact, in second spot, so it's not a huge surprise, but that is pole position at the moment for him. Gergo Baldi is back in the pits, isn't doing a lap at the moment. Simon Kilo's out on track. I saw him going around. That's Ernie Juraska there in the Lithuanian coloured car, and don't know whether that held him up or not, but we'll find out as the first sector's coming up in just a second here. There he is, he's purple, so he didn't hold him up at all. He's purple in that first sector.
Great job there by Adrian Holm to get himself faster than Alexander Lauritsen. Of course, he was on the front row alongside Gergo Baldi, but he's definitely managed to step it up a little bit more. And it seems to be in this case, they're finding more single lap pace the second time around, because of course I think they're finding stuff out after all the practice they did. But of course, going into the second qualifying session, they seem to be finding lines that they can take, which maybe they didn't quite discover or weren't exactly able to pull off in the first session due to the fact they just weren't pushing that hard or weren't being that
Well, you would
adventurous
wonder
or
why,
swallowed by
after all the hundreds of laps that they've done in practice, you wonder why they couldn't pick up those lines during that time.
That's true. That is true, but of course I think maybe the things, like I said, things such as maybe making a mistake on a certain part of the circuit or getting held up by other cars on their laps or in or out laps could potentially be factors. As we see, Simon Keelov is now making his way through the centre chicane and now back towards the pits.
He lost some time in the middle sector, but he's still purple.
He did. He's still purple, but he's now going to head down towards the Lorenzo corner, Lorenzo hairpin, named after MotoGP world champion Jorge Lorenzo. And out of it he comes and onto the pit straight now. Oh, big slide on the exit. I've lost him about a tenth or two. Pushing hard, probably a bit too hard, and that's now going to end him up still fifth. So he's 49.383, so he stays on the third row alongside Gergo Baldi, who hasn't improved on a 49.372. That's quite surprising after he set a 48.9 in Q1. But he hasn't been able to find any ultimate speed. Maybe he's been caught up, as I said, by a little bit by traffic. He has got Alexander Lauritsen, who's now on the front row of the grid in behind him. There's Danny Asbury goes purple in sector 1 by 200th of a second, but of course it's all very well being purple in sector 1. If you can't hook up the next two sectors, it's all for nothing. So we'll have to wait and see. I see Lewis McLean has just popped into P19. That's a great job to get himself inside the top 20 ahead of quite a few drivers. So that's a fantastic effort from the Smile Power Racing driver. And Danny Asbury then moving his way through Drysat corner. If you watch him in the Opton Sim Racing car, I did hear that Opton Sim Racing have had a link up now with Ice Cold Racing, which means of course they will be doing a bit of setup sharing, and that's probably one of the reasons, or another one of the reasons why Danny Asbury is now a bit further up the field than he was before, along with the fact he has switched back to Logitech wheels from Fanatec, and he has lost time in the second sector. He's now down by just over a tenth. So the time still, that Danny's time will probably still put him somewhere around. He's still third, so he won't improve, but he will be at least. It will at least help to at least try and sustain his spot on the second row alongside Juha Tuonainen. So got Keelov on a personal best, as we have with Hardwick and Strana also. So these guys are going to push on, see if they can get.
Paolini goes 14th.
Paolini up to 14th, but Strana is the man who's going to have to watch. So if he can knock off any of these guys around the kind of drop zone, not really a drop zone, but around the top 10, if you like, to try and get himself in and amongst them at the moment. Danny goes across the line.
One more go at it, so he gets another lap in. With 10 seconds to go. Anybody else in behind? Who's that coming across the line there as well? I couldn't quite see. Was that Simon Kilo, perhaps? It was. He won't get any other goes. He's backing out to the pit lane. Walker's on his final attempt. Baldi is on his final attempt. He's 9,000ths of a second down, and Adrian Holm in that final sector. Oh, he's sideways there as well. Just about kept it on. Don't think he lost much time there as a result of that. Pushing hard through the chicane also as well. Baldi just about keeping it within the track bounds. About 2.9 is still in 4th spot at the moment. Doing very well. Hardwick goes into 7th spot. What can Baldi do? Coming down towards the final corner. This is where he struggled a little bit, I would say. And that's good stuff through there. No, bit too deep. That could cost him. That could cost him. That little mistake. We got Lauritsen just in behind him also as well. Will Lauritsen improve? Baldi now driving towards the line. Is it going to be pole position? No, he goes third. He goes third. Aaron Holm looks like he's going to be on pole position for this race. It's Holm, Lauritsen, Baldi, Asbury, covered by less than 800ths of a second, Scott.
Yep, 2.9 was fifth, and Ryan Walker popped into 6th on his final effort. So that was a fantastic job from to put himself top of the Airstream guys, ahead of Simon Keelov, who'll start on row 4 alongside Oscar Hardwick. Robert Bissimula is down in 9th, with Matt Richards rounding up the top 10. So Eric Strana missed out by 600th of a second. Couldn't get into the top 10, and he'll start alongside John Monroe. So there's the top 12 is populated by some very big names. Other guys such as Paolini pops to 11th, ahead of Strana. So he's pushed Strana down another spot.
And to Dwight only 16th as well.
Guys. Yes, Dwight 16th, Scott Serbic only 15th. And Brugman was only 19th also as well. So, and Gary Lennon hasn't even set a time. So, some drivers struggling in these Brazilian V8 stock cars in this Virtual Supertech Series. But it is a fantastic lockout of first, second, and third. Almost a virtual repeat of what it was for the race 1 result. But it's Holm who's on pole, of course, with Lauritsen second and Baldi third. But Danny Asbury is up there and showing some fantastic pace, and this renewed vigour that he has now in Touring TPS, especially in these Virtual Supertech Series cars. Awesome effort to get 4th Opton Sim Racing. I'm sure that Team Boss Bradley Vanian will be very, very happy with that one.
That's good performance there from Danny Asbury. We're pleased with that also as well, as you see there's 29 drivers who have qualified for this race. Callan couldn't get another lap in there. I'm not quite sure why he's choosing not to qualify in these races. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, but there you go. So we've got a warm-up session here now. We'll be back in just a minute where we discuss that very fascinating qualifying session, Scott.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
And those were our sponsors there, Inside SimRacing.tv. They've been fantastic partners to us. They host our forums for a start, and they also give us plenty of support in the background as well. So many thanks to Inside Sim Racing. In case you're wondering why on earth we provide Inside Sim Racing on our broadcast, why there's an advert for that, it's because they are such good partners for us, and they host our forums, which is an essential part, of course, of Touring Pro Series, where all drivers and all the spectators get all the information they can get from. It's actually TouringProSeries.com/forum. You'll find it all there as well. If you want to race, of course, in the Touring Pro Series, just go to TouringProSeries.com, and on the top bar, click on How to Join. All very simple, and you can check out all the procedures you need to go through. It's all very simple, actually. In fact, you just need to go to the forum, read the information, decide that you're competent in the cars, and sign up. That's absolutely it, and you can race along with all these drivers you can see here today. So this is the current event, of course. After this, we go to round 3, Scott, and looking forward to that, I presume.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at the calendar, of course, there's some rather challenging circuits coming up for the Virtual Supertech Series. Of course, we've got Fuji Speedway, a very fast, long circuit. Of course, we're using the old layout, a 1992 layout, rather than the modern one, which, of course, has the very knick-knack kind of switchback sections that you have at the end of a lap. But, of course, the very long, very fast...
The knick-knack?
I was trying to find the words in it. I couldn't find the right term for it. Don't give me technicalities, Callan. Come on. But it was, the long straights here at Fuji Speed with the long corners. This should definitely help the kind of speed merchants in our championship who love these long, fast, high-speed tracks. After that, of course, we go to Jacarapagua, the same circuit that the Minis has just come from, the Curve of Sul layout. Rather short circuit, but still plenty of corners, plenty of areas which could catch a few guys out. Of course, that's one of our first races back in 2014. Of course, these are 2014 championships, even though we started them this year. Then we've got the full course of Brasilia, which is a very long technical circuit with some lot of switchback sections and long curves. Not really any tight corners here, but maybe one or two.
Are there any knick-knack sections, though?
Plenty. And then Cascavel, and then on 8th of February, and then to round it out the championship, we finish in America at the Sebring International Raceway in Florida. So a bit of airport circuit action, of course, because it was a former airstrips and airports around there. So Sebring should be a fantastic circuit, of course, home of the 12 hours, and a great way to end the season. We always like to end our championships using game stock car on American circuits. I know that the Virtual Mini Challenge this season is no exception with Mid-Ohio, so it should be fun to watch that one. But yeah,
well, everyone knows that America's better than everybody else, of course. That's why we go there. Anyway, onto the matter at hand here. And who do you think's going to win this race? Because you've got Holm Lauritsen and Danny Asbury. Baldi and Danny Asbury on the front 2 rows. You would presume that your pick will come in one of those 4.
Absolutely. I think possibly, given his pace at the end of race 1. No disrespect to Holm, because of course he's put a fantastic effort in to keep it on pole position, and of course then to keep with Baldi to some extent, and to only have the gap go out to about 7 seconds. But with his pace at the end of the race in race 1, I'm going to have to go for Lauritsen. I think Lauritsen's got the outright pace. I think now that he's more comfortable with the car, I think possibly he's got the potential to win this race. What about you, Ryan? Who do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be Lauritsen, or do you think that Gerger can double up and make it 3 wins out of 4 races?
I'm going to go with Lauritsen. Lauritsen for me.
So Lauritsen both ways on this one.
That seems to be the case, definitely. And we're just about to go into race 2 for you now, as people just pop back into the pit lane, ready for this race. Got a formation lap with a standing start coming up, and it should be very exciting indeed to see who gets down towards that first corner. It could just simply be whoever gets to that first corner first, Scott, and that could be the deciding factor for the rest of this race, because people squabble behind, don't they?
They do, and the fact that the G motor engine doesn't really simulate kind of offline dust and dirt means that you're not necessarily at a disadvantage if you start on the inside line down towards the first corner, because if you start there, if you can get a better start than the guy alongside you on your row, there's every chance that you can beat him down towards turn 1, because you'll have the optimum line down into the first corner. So unless those guys are actually, they're fast enough to try and get through, and in fact actually pole position is on the dirty side of the track in many ways. So this will be intriguing to see exactly how this plays out. As we see, there's that car starting from the pit lane. Simon Kilo starting from the pit lane.
He was in 7th. He'll have to start from the pit lane, although I don't know. And he went straight out the pits and got himself disqualified.
Oh dear.
There's a red light there, Simon, unfortunately. And you'll see on the replay where he just goes straight through, and he's exited the game now also as well. So we won't even catch a replay of that. So,
yeah.
So that was a bit daft there from Simon Kilo. Not paying attention whatsoever. First of all, not getting onto the grid, and second of all, driving straight through the red pit light. It's one of the reasons why Simon Kilo has not won a championship yet, because he makes these schoolboy errors, unfortunately.
Oh dear. Well, of course, after the week he's had, and that's not necessarily that's not something that he wanted to happen, and that's kind of, I'm sure it does put him in a bad mood if he wasn't in one already. But in this circuit, of course, not many elevation changes that much. If there are, they're very steady. So, but it's mainly a very flat circuit, and there's again 1 or 2 big braking zones, but the most of the corners here are rather fast and flowing. So, of course, the big braking zones, of course, you've got mainly into turn 1, the final corner. You've got down here towards dry sack, because you approach it at quite high speeds, and also a fairly big-ish braking zone, if you want to call it that, is the braking into the chicane also. So. This circuit is, of course, it's also clockwise as well. I believe it is. Yeah, it is clockwise. So, of course, a lot of strain is going on the left-hand side tyres. So, mainly the left front. So, of course, careful tyre management is also something that can work here, because, of course, there's no pit stops in VSS. So, I think guys like Oscar Hardwick, he's up in 7th. I think he's maybe either just trying to adjust. We said he was trying to adjust, of course, to these kind of cars and just learning his way and feeling his way through through TPS and how these guys run. But I think the fact that he may have been a bit more conservative on his tyres than everyone else, and that may have given him a lot more of a benefit than we may have let on, because that's probably the reason why he was able to charge up to the field a bit more.
Sorry to interrupt, but I have a feeling he was just rubbish. And got himself sorted out in the second half of the race. I'm sure he would probably say the same thing.
Ask him, so Oscar, we saving tyres? No, I was just off the pace, I was just a bit rubbish.
Just rubbish.
But I probably think he probably in his mind he probably said something a bit stronger than that. But of course, this is TPS. It's an online broadcast. It's still a family show, so no bad words, please, to anyone who's watching that.
We can talk about dancing and knickknacks, but we can't talk about
can't talk about any naughty words. But but I'm not even going to try what we can get away with, because I think that's probably just a bit too risky.
Oh no, Danny Asbury's reversing on the grid. Don't want that to happen. He's getting back into his spot on the grid. Don't want that to happen at all.
Danny,
so we're about to go racing here.
Danny, stay where you're going.
Yep, just look ahead of you, eyes forward, as they like to say.
Towards the lights.
We should be ready to go here in just a second.
Revs are up.
They are indeed.
And away
they go. It's a good start there from Adrian Hall. That's a good start from all 3 THR cars, all very even off the grid. But Danny Asbury has been absolutely left. He's back in 6th spot now, back from 4th. So that's ruined his race as 2.9 goes past. And so goes Oscar Hardwick. Another great start from Oscar Hardwick. He's gone from 7th to 5th as Holm goes into the lead race. He holds that. Baldy down the inside though, and he's got past Alexander Laurison. Baldy on the outside through here.
Car in the background.
Through there. So 1, 2, and 3. Who's gone for the background? It is.
Couldn't quite see. Let me have a look on my screen. See if it may have been. It may have been Andraska.
Oh, poor Angwin. Oh,
maybe.
It must have been Angwin, because he's the only person at the back of the field. So Angwin is not too far off the back of the field though, so he won't be too unhappy about that. But he did qualify about 13th or 12th, I think. So a little bit peeved about that. And now Adrian Holm, here he is, back towards the front of the field. Adrian Holm leads with Baldy in behind, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 for THR at the moment. All 4 of their car colours in the top 4.
In a line. How perfectly coordinated is that for THR? I'm sure they didn't plan it, but look at that. We've got orange
shot,
from
isn't it?
red, from purple, from blue. That's quite that's quite a coincidence whenever you saw one. But Holm does lead it. The better start from Oscar Harvick, and actually it's almost a THR 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because Robert Wiesema is up to P6 and not too far away from Oscar Harvick. Of course, he's now trying to mix it amongst them. But Danny Asbury started 4th and lost 3 places, and now he's coming under attack from Eric Strana, but Danny himself is right on the back of Robert Wiesema.
It's a good start for Strana then. He qualified 12th, remember?
It was actually, yeah, that's correct. He started outside the top 10, up 4 spots, so good start from the Ice Cold driver. As I think I'm looking ahead, and I think possibly, is that Holm and Baldi battling? No, not quite. I can see there's something going on in the front. But across the line
it was Lauritsen and Holm and Baldi.
Lauritsen and Holm, there we
battling,
go.
yeah.
So
it's interesting. What is Baldi going to be like stuck in a battle? Is he able to battle as well as he can race out front? This is the big question.
Will he have
There was
the
contact
ultimate
with
pace?
Kilo and Sorensen, remember, at Kurita. Not his fault, of course, but there was still contact in the end, and there was lots of changes in position. Can Baldi outrace as well as outlap a field?
Harvick went very deep into turn 2 there, and he's now continuing on, and that's lost him about a car length or so to his teammate. Now looking forward to Eric Strana, the man he struggled early on, but at this point here that he went off and nosed it into the tyres. He just caught the end of the. But in fact, I think it was actually contact with Alexander Lauritsen that caused it. Of course, he was sideways.
Remember he was sideways,
and then Lauritsen slightly.
Yeah,
and that put him into the tyres. That's possibly the reason why Lauritsen was so far down in the beginning.
He was coming through with Strana at the time.
He was going through. That's right.
Yeah. So and then Strana obviously got sideways on the curb, and Lauritsen gave him a tap as a result of that. Nothing Lauritsen could do, of course. Danny Johns goes up into 20th spot. I just noticed that's been a change for position, and it would be nice if I could find. So there we are. And this, it's all gone very haywire here. Why is it in replay mode? I'm quite sure why. Taco off the track.
Who's that?
McGlade. And it's Blaze off the track.
Oh dear.
So it's not gone well for him.
I've noticed also that Lewis McGlade's dropped down to 25th.
25th.
After where he qualified, so that's quite a disappointment.
There's Blaze, there's Navarro, and there is Gary Lennon, still way off the back of the field. Not quite sure how I'm but Navarro has not done very well at all. Taco there. He is in 24th, Alcaclin there in 23rd, and the Angwin's already up to 22nd after being off the back of the field at the start, so he's run up 6 positions already in just 2 laps or so. And Andy Johns in 21st, Thomas Erzan in 20th, with Wiesemuller's back to 19th. Wiesemuller back to 19th. What has happened here? He's dropped way back down the field. So Wiesemuller has made a mistake somewhere. Just to see him there rejoining the track. I'm not sure exactly what happened. We not able to catch it, unfortunately. But now he's back to 19th and challenging Ernie Drasker for 18th.
Well, he should make light work of the cars around him, of course. But Ernie Drasker shouldn't pose too much of a threat. And he should be able to get past him relatively easy. Although I say that, and Ernie's actually holding him up to these first couple of corners. But of course, it's for position. So Rob's going to have to do it the hard way. It's not going to be a case of there's no blue flags, of course, because it's not a lap back run, but this is actually for position, as we said. So
Lauritsen's got past Baldi also as well at the front of the field. Obviously, we've missed that. We'll catch up with that in just a second here as Wiesemuller goes around the outside of the Lithuanian Ernie Drasker in that beautiful livery, created by Toby Davis for Ernie Drasker, in fact, in VSS Season 2, 2012, second season. And Ernie Drasker resplendent in his country's colours there. And back at the front of the field, then Adrian Holm is leading. Lauritsen's got past Gerger Baldi, who's dropped quite a way back off the front 2 at the moment. He's 2.1 seconds behind Adrian Holm currently.
So Baldi not showing the ultimate pace that he was proving in race 1, not obviously because he's been probably stuck in traffic in amongst his teammates. But intriguing to see that Oscar Harvick's managed to find something, because he's now just about on the rear end of the THR Blue Machine of Juha 2 who's having a much better time of it this time up in P4. There's Eric Strana, who has got around Danny Asbury. So that was for P6, and Asbury's down to 7th. And then I think there's a bit of a, it's almost the Airstream show behind, because you've got Eric Tveit in 8th, and then you've got Ryan Walker, Andrew Waring, John Monroe, and Lars Brugman. And Lars, of course, is ice cold. But look at that, we've got Airstream cars, and in fact, just behind Lars is Matt Richards.
And then Scott Cervic.
Yes. So
we've got ice cold, Airstream, Airstream.
In formation.
Yeah. Ice cold, Airstream. Ice cold, Airstream. So the Airstream cars are dominating the field at the moment. There are 8 of them racing in this championship after all.
I'm not sure if it's. I'm not sure if these guys, if formation is the name of the game in this race, because you've got, of course, you've got THR first, second, third, and fourth. You've got now Ice Cold and Airstream almost forming up, so they're all in formation. So I'm not sure if it's formation flying, which is what they're all after in this second race, or whether it must be just purely coincidence. There might be some that is still in P18.
I would say formation flying is more sensible than the Danish shuffle.
That's true. Less moving around.
Indeed, yes, it's a much more sensible team option. Back up for the field, Lauritsen has taken the lead of the race, though. Taking the lead of the race is Lauritsen. Just there we are, just at the hairpin. We can see, just gone through the inside. You can clearly see on the cutback, Hull was trying to do it, but not able to do so. So at the hairpin, Lauritsen is leading this race. So Lauritsen has taken the lead. He started in second spot. Remember, he dropped a spot off the grid to Gerger Baldi, but is now straight back up to that first spot. Doing very well indeed. Holm is again in second, with Baldi now closing him down. 2-9 is still in that fourth spot, but he's coming under a little bit of pressure now from Oscar Hardwick. Sorry for missing that lead move as we're looking through the field, but it's now Lauritsen in the lead of this race, and I feel he may walk away with this as a result.
Well, now he has that clean air. He can control the pace now, and he's going to force Adrian Holm to push harder to keep with him, of course, and these guys behind. Of course, Gerger Baldi's in third place. I think he's just sitting back and running his own race for the moment, at least.
He's dropped more time with Baldi on this lap, in fact, actually. He dropped 0.6 of a second in that sector alone.
So, I'm not quite sure where his pace has dropped off to, compared to his dominance of race one. I think it may have been the fact that he was caught up with between both Lauritsen and Holm. The fact that he couldn't.
But he's not exactly in dirty air right now, is he? Nobody's interfering with him.
No, he's not.
All by himself. It's quite alone in third place.
He's in plenty of clean air. There's no reason why he couldn't push him. So, but even like he's changed something in between races that just didn't seem to work, and it's kind of gone the other way.
Look at that push to pass. The difference it makes on the straights. Pulls right away from Oscar Hardwick. There's 2-9 in. So you have to be careful because when you get the braking zone, you go much faster than previously. To press the brakes quite a bit earlier. So in terms of actually making up time, it's not that much of a useful instrument, because you end up braking a lot earlier, and because you're not used to braking with the push to pass, you don't know where to brake, so you have to play conservatively. You actually generally lose most of the time you just gained along the straight.
Actually, that's the point you mentioned on push to pass. Do you think that possibly Gergo is conserving his push to passes, and the other two in front, both Holm and Lauritsen, are using them up a bit more?
Well, you've got to use them at regular intervals, really. There's not much, there's different strategies for using them, but really it's alternate laps, really, as a result, because there are 8 available, and it takes 150 seconds, 2.5 minutes for them to come back to you. So it takes just over a lap, a lap and a half before you can use one again. And there's 8 of them with 19 laps. So you see, you do have to use them in a certain way. So there's no point just holding on to them for the end of the race. You can't use them all at once, you see.
That's rather intriguing. So I have to see how that plays out. But I can see at the front, I'm watching that just on the front from the view of Oscar Hardwick's car. I could see that Holm was all over the back of Lauritsen again. So looks as though that Lauritsen's not being allowed to get away with it too far, because Holm is giving him the hurry up already and is looking to try and grab the lead back again now from his brand new teammate, because of course Lauritsen is a new THR recruit after the disbandment of Precision Motorsports' touring car wing.
Holm himself isn't exactly a THR veteran. This is his first series with THR.
That's very true.
He had his breakthrough season. He had his breakthrough season in V8s this year in the 2013 Championship, winning at both Sandown and Sydney. After 2 years of trying to win a TPS race, he finally did it, and he also put his Sydney jinx aside also as well. He said Sandown was one of the easiest races of his life, and indeed it was. He was leading by 4 or 5 seconds all race long. It's one of the, when everything comes together and you suddenly find out how to win a race, and that's exactly what Holm has done. Has been a front runner ever since. Did very well in the opening round of this championship as well, and he's now been second in the first race here, of course, and he's now hunting down Lauritsen for this win here.
Of course, half of the credit for that win, no disrespect to agents, it has to go. Adrian has to go to, of course, Eric Strana, because of course he was actually sharing. As Visimol is out, Visimol is out of the race. Now,
no idea what's happened to him. It's just a DNF, so that's a disconnection or a screen freeze, or just a simple not able to carry on. There's no engine or suspension damage there, so that's interesting.
If it was an accident, it would have said accident, or as you said, suspension.
And wearing down to 21st, wearing down to 21st position. He was all the way up at fighting with his Aerostream teammates, remember, for that.
He was.
8th and 9th spot.
And Strana's got around Hardwick as well. You just see it change. Strana's just got past Harbert for P5.
Into that final corner, obviously. So Strana is now ahead of him, and now Lauritsen is fighting back on Holm. Holm looking back down the inside and taking the lead of the race once again into the first corner. Great pass by Holm, but it's allowing Baldi to close the gap.
Yeah, Baldi has pulled away from 209, and so he's now making it a three-way fight. And here's the replay down to turn 1. Simple pass up the inside, job done. So Holm is back into the lead, but of course, I've said it so many times in broadcast, I'm always kind of known for saying this, is that the harder these guys fight each other, the easier it's going to be for the cars around to take advantage, especially
Scott,
Gergo
you've never
Baldi.
said that before.
I've said it plenty of times. Maybe not on TPS, but
I was being sarcastic.
plenty of times.
It's been sarcastic.
Anyway, never mind. Anyway.
Straight over Scott's head. sorry, viewers. Adrian Holmes leading this race. But what I liked about there was it was you often talk about the art of overtaking. There's also the art of being overtaken and knowing when you're being overtaken and not to argue the point. And Lauritsen there saw that Holm was completely on his inside, didn't fight him, didn't turn across on him, let him have the lead of the race because he's going to take it anyway. Any rash moves from Lauritsen there just results in contact with both of them perhaps off the track, and there's always the art of being overtaken. No one likes being overtaken, but sometimes you just have to accept it's going to happen and move on with the rest of your race, and that was good driving there from Lauritsen, and they haven't lost too much time to Baldi as a result, who's still 1.3 seconds behind Adrian Holm here.
And of course the fact, sorry to point out the obvious, but of course they're teammates. They've got no reason Lauritsen has no reason to try and move across and cause contact with his sister teammate. Of course, he can let him go because teammates can fight cleanly and actually get away with it and not have to resort to panel bashing to defending and gaining positions. And of course, THR are showing a perfect example of that. You see down the pit straight, Lauritsen has got the toe on Holm, but he's just not close enough to make a move. And you see, he's not still enough to make a dive down the inside. He's going to sit back and think, no, Adrian's there. I'm going to sit here, see if I can maybe pressure him a little bit, force him into a bit of a mistake, and try and win the race that way. And he almost did, and almost blocked up and went a little too deep into the second corner. So Lauritsen's tricky, just sitting back and allowing Holm to worry about staying in the lead rather than Lauritsen pressuring, pushing as hard as he can to get past. Seems to be working because he's forcing Holm to do all of the worrying at the moment rather than Lauritsen sat there thinking, well, I'm running out of time. He's got plenty of time. We're on lap 8 of 19. He's got plenty of laps left to get this job done. That's for Gergo Baldi in third place. He's got clean air, so he's not exactly being held up, but there goes Lauritsen in front though. I saw he was moving to the inside of Holm. Does he make the job done? Yes, he does. Does he go too deep and let Holm get the switch back? No. So Lauritsen's back through, and as you said, didn't just let him through that first because he knew he was going to get it back at some point, and indeed he has. So Lauritsen back in front.
But the same with Holm again also as well. He knew he was being overtaken and didn't turn in or try to squeeze Lauritsen. He knew that pass was done. You've got to accept it sometimes, and he did that. And now he's pressuring Lauritsen, who Lauritsen now has the difficulty of leading the race. Whoever leading is now a difficulty, and Baldi is right on the back of this battle as a result. Look at that, how close these guys are. Lauritsen, Holm, Baldi, still 2-9 in fourth spot for THR also as well. This spot is ice cold with Strana, with Harvick driving for Satellite Racing or Aerostream, not quite sure. It's actually Satellite Racing who's driving for in this championship in sixth spot, with Danny Asprey for Optimum and Lars Brugman for ice cold in that 8th spot. But this is the great battle on track at the moment. 1, 2, 3, and very vibrant battle as well it is.
Just by something else as well, after his great qualifying, I'll come to back in a second. Here comes Holm again, up the inside for the lead once more. And Baldi's got the best view in the house as he watches Holm retake the lead from Lauritsen. So another change. Oh, and big sideways moment on the exit from Holm. Very good reflective to catch that one as Baldi closes under braking on his sister teammate. So it is now Holm in the black and orange car, of course THR orange. Lauritsen in the purple THR machine, and on board with Gergo Baldi in the red. You could argue possibly the main THR machine, the red THR car number 13.
13, yes, indeed.
13. Unlucky for some, but not so unlucky for Gergo Baldi as they head down the back straight. And I think this must be pushed the pass coming into effect because here comes Gergo Baldi to the inside of Lauritsen. Look at that, didn't even fight it. He knew Baldi was coming and just lets him have the place. And again, another classic example, as you mentioned so already a couple of times, Ryan, of knowing when you're being overtaken and knowing when you won't have to surrender the place because he knows he may come back and grab that place at the back once again at a later date. So he's going to wait for Baldi to possibly see what he can do.
And with the yo-yo and the push to passes as well, with people having different schedules of those push to passes,
indeed,
you're going to have another chance at some point. Just stay close, wait until your push to pass moment comes and then go past.
Something I wanted to mention also whilst we're watching this, he qualified quite high up the grid, but or thereabouts. Ryan Walker down in 13th place in this race, 19.8 seconds off the lead. Not really finding the same pace. Maybe must have got caught.
Fourth place in race 1 as well.
Yeah, it must have got caught up in the first lap melee in the middle of the field.
He just slowly gone down the field actually. In fact, because he was running around about 9th at one point, so he just slowly trickled down the field. Not sure if he's been in a battle, you know, with his teammates or whatever, but it's not worked out that well for him. It has to be said.
Shades of Oscar Harvick in race 1, it has to be said.
Oscar Harvick himself doing much better in this race. He's running.
Andrew Waring's out.
7th spot. Waring is out of this race, so he's not gone well at all in his debut for Aerostream. 2 DNS for Andrew Waring, and his statistics for non-classifications are getting worse and worse, it seems.
Estrada's 4th now, so Estrada's 4th has got around 2.9,
so 2.9
and he's actually closing.
He is
indeed. 3.1 seconds off the lead.
As we got around Harvick also as well for that 6th spot we just mentioned there. So some changes here, but we have to stick with the lead battle, unfortunately. Sorry to be. No, there's plenty of battles going down through the field, but this is 1, 2, 3, as close as you like. Throw a blanket over all 3 of them, and they would still be together. And here comes Lauritsen. Will he pass home as well? This is the question. Will he pass home as well? He's going for it, is he? No, he's not. He didn't quite have the power to go past home also, as Baldi comes back on the inside. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. He's back to 3rd spot. So 1, 2, 3 still. And Home will be loving that because he has those 2 battling behind, and he can then use his push to pass, maybe get away and make them battle once again. But Lauritsen, he's so quick through this section, you notice. He always closes on the guy ahead.
Estrada a little bit sideways in the background. We have to keep an eye exactly the gap and how that's busy. Of course, the gap is relative between Holm and Strana. Of course, it's now 2.9, so he's closed by another couple of tenths in Sector 1 at least. End of Sector 2 is coming up. Let's see what it is now. At some points, still 2.9. So, as you said, obviously looking back at Lauritsen when he passed Baldi, it would have been
sideways there.
Good reflections to keep that car pointing in the right direction. But yeah, Lauritsen, I think he knew he was sensible. He was never really going to try and make a huge dive up the inside of Holm because he just simply wasn't close enough. So there would have been no point, as we see again a replay, probably a slow-mo replay here of Alexander Lauritsen on maximum attack, full opposite lock on the exit of the penultimate corner. As again there he goes, hanging the tail out. Gergo Baldi getting a great view of that grey and purple and black THR machine getting sideways off every corner. Can't be doing his rear tyres any favours, but it certainly makes for great entertainment to watch. Looking back here, of course, we're seeing Ehud at 2.9 and in 5th, gapping Danny Asbury slightly, who has, as we said, got around Oscar Hardwick.
Asbury's gaining on 2.9, and I would say, I say that, he's gone wide. That allows a bit of encouragement to Hardwick. No, not going to happen. Not yet, at least, anyway. But Hardwick would now be right in the back of Asbury on this next straight as a result. Right behind the Wix-sponsored Optimum Sim Racing car. But he's going to pull away on the straight. Does he have the push to pass there? I think they're both just either both using it or neither using it. Very even down there. So back to the front of the field. Holm still leading from Alexander Lauritsen. Lap 11 of 19. 8 laps to go at the end of this. Call it for us, Scott.
Ooh, it's going to be tricky. Holm's holding on for the moment pretty nicely. But I think if these guys are now if we're looking at it as if they're on alternative push-to-pass strategies, then Holm has the chance to pull away on the straights on the back straight when he can use it. But provided that, because we know Lauritsen's so strong around the twisty sections, that there's a chance that he could potentially close it in and get a chance that when he is in range to use his push-to-pass, he's close enough to make an attack. But never count out Gergo Baldi. Of course, he's won 2 of the last 3 races that we've run already with these Supertech races. He's looking to make it 3 out of 4. And he is close enough to challenge and capitalise on any mistake should the 2 cars in front either slip up or come to blows. And let's hope it's not the second one. So we'll have to wait and see. It's quite close for me to call it. I bet it's too close right now. I can't really call it because any one of these 3 could win it.
Call it, Scott. The viewers want you to call it. The viewers want you to call it, Scott.
I'm going to stick with my original prediction, Lauritsen. If he can get past Holm, I think he might just be able to do it. If he can find a way to pull away, Lauritsen.
Okay, well I'm going with Lauritsen as well then. I went Lauritsen at the start of the race, so I've got to stick with it really. Holm, a bit wide.
I've just spotted Hardwick has got back past Danny Asbury back in P6.
So Hardwick having a much better race this time around. Seemed to have sorted himself out after that opening 10 laps of the first race where he was pretty terrible, it has to be said, and then sorted himself out at the back end of the first race and has now been fantastic in this second race as well. Great showing from Oscar Harwick so far. And back at the front of the field, Lauritsen. Oh, it's 3 wide going down towards
3 wide.
And Holmes going to go from first to third as Lauritsen bowling on past him. Lauritsen sideways. Holm back down the inside. He's going to pass both of them once again. What a pass from Holm. Great drive from all three guys here. Lauritsen just got slightly sideways and has dropped back to third as a result. Oh, unbelievable stuff. Let's talk us through this once again, Scott.
Absolutely. This was an absolute... how Holm pulled this one off. This is a classic switchback. Look at this. On the slow-mo, Lauritsen's in the middle. Holm was on the outside. Lauritsen got sideways mid-corner as the tail kicked out. This is the view from Baldi. And look at that. Adrian Holm was the 2 went wide. So Adrian said, thank you very much. I think that's my first place, I think you'll find. Bit of rubbing. But as I say, rubbing's racing. And Holm somehow holds on to the place with an absolutely stellar overtaking manoeuvre. That possibly could be one of the, not only one of the overtaking moves of the season for VSS, possibly for the whole year.
Baldi's off! He braked too late.
I think Estrada into P3.
Yeah, he's going to go right on these guys.
Place. And 2-9 goes through.
2-9 back through as well. So Baldi braked too late, almost hit the back of Holm, had to go straight, and then once you're on the grass, he just drags you off. There's no grip at all. He's lucky to get out of the gravel so quickly, actually, in fact. So Baldi back down to 5th spot, and we've got to battle at the lead of the front just for 2 drivers now.
It could become 3 again pretty soon because Strana's picked up his pace. You can see now there's only 2 THR cars to deal with rather than 3. So that could now get Strana's tail up and potentially see him zoom towards the guys in front. He's got 6 laps to do it. 2.5 second gap to make up, but we know, of course, that Holm and Lauritsen are setting a fast enough pace. But already in the first sector, he's taken 0.2 of a second out of the lead for Andrew and Holm. Meanwhile, back here, back for P4, the resurgent Gerger Baldi. Well, he's trying to close, but I think that must be 2-9 using his push to pass. He pulled away slightly, even with Baldi in the toe. Baldi trying to make a dive up the inside of his teammate. Can he get it done? Yes, 2-9 left in plenty of room. Bit of carbon fibre.
2-9 gives him a bit of a nudge back to say, hey.
Bit of a love tap, and
carbon fibre flew off. But Baldi, that's a classic case of another driver knowing they're faster. So Baldi had the confidence to dive down the inside of 2-9. He would have done that flat to the home, but he knew he was faster, so therefore he went along with it.
So now the question remains: is what can Gerger Baldi do in these next kind of 5 and a bit laps to close back into these top 3? He's not too far away. And we know he's got ultimate pace because, of course, he was so quick in race 1. But he's now got a 5.8 second gap to make up in 6 seconds. I'm not quite sure that he's a second quicker than these guys. He may be in clean air. We don't know. But we'll have to wait and see if he can do anything to close the gap. He's got 6 laps to do it. So he's going to be taking about a second, roughly around, I'd say about 8 or 9 tenths a lap to try and close in that gap. Or so maybe even about a second a lap in his last 6 laps. So
Strana's got the gap to below 2 seconds, look.
It is now. So Strana, if he's got push to passes on a different strategy to these 2 in front, he'll want to try and capitalise on that one very quickly. So we'll have to wait and see how that one materialises. But he definitely seems to have overall better pace than both Lauritsen and Holm, purely due to the fact that those 2 are so concerned with each other that they're not looking in their rearview mirrors and seeing exactly what's coming up behind. And it is, in fact, Eric Strana in car number 15.
As we go into the final stage of this race, let's just go a quick run through the field for you. You can find the last person running on track at the moment, and that is that's actually, in fact, Gary Lennon is in 26th spot. There we are. He's way down the field. Not sure what's happened to Gary Lennon in this particular event. Completely off colour. Andy Johns is in 25th, as he uses far too much of the track there, Andy. Let's try not to do that too much. And Ivan Navarro is in 24th spot, teammate to Alexander Lauritsen, not quite in the same class as him, unfortunately, in terms of speed, but Ivan Navarro, a very valuable member of THR, actually, in fact. THR love having him on board with them. Jonathan Ockercliffe now going down the inside of Marcelo Tocco, and going straight on, and Tocco retakes the position. So, Tocco back into that 22nd spot, and their battle continues. Martin Blaze in 21st spot. It's a bit of a good recovery, actually, considering he was way back at the start of the race. Ernie Draska in 20th, number 87. There we are in the Lithuanian colours, as we mentioned it earlier. Lewis McGlade for Smile Power in 19th spot. 18th spot is Brandon Warren. He's racing in the number 22 machine for Satellite Racing. Teammates to Oscar Harwick, so he's 18th. 17th spot is Kevin Angwin. That's a decent recovery from him, considering he was 28th at the end of the first lap. He's made up 11 positions so far. 16th spot is Thomas Erzen. Bit of a better run this time around than last time. Eric de Veit is in 15th. He's dropped up and he's gone up and down through the field so far, mainly down, has to be said, during the rest of this race. Scott Servig right behind Scott Servig, who's in 14th. Looks like he's getting ready to make a pass on the Norwegian though. Norwegian on Norwegian. And down the inside goes Eric, just about making the corner and makes the pass. So he's up to 14th spot. Petzold in 13th, the South African. 12th spot is a Scot, John Munro. 11th is Dino Paolini. Finished at 12th in the first race. So again, running very strongly here. Very quietly puts together these championships. Ends up finishing in the top 10 all the time because he just quietly scores points. 10th spot. Not quite as
right.
as
If I could just
first
interject,
race.
change for the lead. Larritson's going to look up the inside almost. Holm got a pretty shaky run out of Cito Pond's corner and almost made the move stick. But Larritson wasn't far enough alongside. Sorry to interrupt, I just had that on my other screen, just seeing what was going on. But they are very close
let's watch
to each
this
other.
battle as we go along. The rest of the drives we've covered anyway, with Matt Richards in 8th spot and Brugman in 9th. Those two are joined at the hip, aren't they?
They are. They saw so much of each other in race 1 that they can't leave each other alone for race 2. Is they still watching the lead battle? It's still very close. But
Jürgen Ball has gained 1.7 seconds in the last lap and a half.
So maybe it is doable, but it all depends on how much Strana gets held up. As Strana is right on the back of these two right now, so it's not once again
and Holmes gone narrow through there. Allows Lauritsen a good run. He's right to the tail of him, going into the final corner. Oh, and Holmes just about got the power on the exit there, very sideways. Lauritsen looking, Strana's looking. He's liking this. He's liking this. It's Eric Strana. The rate has just come back to him. He was way off, really. Qualified in 12th spot, remember. He's now in third, and Lauritsen pushed a pass straight through Adrian Holm. Remember last time he did a push a pass on Adrian Holm, he went sideways on the brakes and lost a position. He didn't do it this time as Strana, almost catching the back of his good friend Adrian Holm.
I'll tell you what, Gerger Bowley has just taken, I think, out of one sector, 7/10 of a second out of these three. The gap's now 3.4 seconds between Lauritsen and Baldi. That's first of
4 laps to go.
4 laps to go, so this is doable. So Gerger Baldi is absolutely on it. You can probably see it if you're watching from the TV camera. He's just there in the background, and he is pushing on to try and close into these three. Because of course, the harder these guys fight, the easier task it's going to be for him to just close in. And now looking at Eric Strana, I think he's probably using push to pass, but I think so is probably Adrian Holm as they make their way past Gary Lennon, and he keeps to the inside. That's very clean driving from Gary there to keep himself out of the way. But of course, the downside to that is he is now 2 laps down on the leaders. So as they head out of Dreisack and into the second half of this Circuito de Jerez, it's looking as though.
Well, I like your Spanish there, Scott. It's very nice.
I think
you've been working on that.
Proper name.
Rosetta Stone.
Well, it's Circuito de Jerez, or it's called Jerez de la Frontera. I think I can't really do the.
Yes, yeah.
I can't roll my R. I'm not articulate Spanish, so I can't roll my R's, unfortunately.
Oh, Tvite's back down to 19th spot now, so he has a miserable race so far. As we see Holm go deep into the chicane again, he's struggling as Holm. Holm is struggling at the back end of this race, and Strana I think will want to get past pretty soon because he's seeing Lauritsen pull away. Look.
Certainly is.
Down the inside, talking about
contact!
Oh, he's made a contact. The late move, I don't think Holmes saw him coming. And contact. Sideways goes Strana, and now Strana's going to be overtaken by Baldi as well. Or is he actually, in fact? Will he have enough speed? Baldi had to avoid him there. No, Strana straight ahead of him. Maybe he used to push the pass, get back up to speed. Oh, he's gone too deep though. Baldi's going to go back down the inside into the hairpin as a result. So all that hard work from Strana, stay ahead. Baldi's on the inside, but Strana stayed around the outside. He's on the inside for the next corner. Baldi will try and do the cut back. It didn't work. Strana just stayed ahead.
And what do we say? If Lauritsen can find a chance to break away, he'll win the race. And that's exactly what's just happened. The contact between Holm and Strana has given Lauritsen the break he needs. This is exactly what Lauritsen was looking for. He's now got plenty of clean space. He's got a 2.2 second advantage over his teammate, and he's almost away and gone at the front. So this could potentially think that I think probably for once, have probably called this right, because Lauritsen is in front. He's now got a gap and looks like he's managed to get it done. What's not done yet is this battle for third between Baldi and Strana. There's formation sliding on the exit of Dreisack, but this is Baldi trying to go around the outside, and Strana's adamant. There's more contact. Baldi's around across the gravel, and that's a very elegant 360 from Gerger Baldi across the the sand trap, gets it going again. He's
Asbury goes past. He
to an
shouldn't be
island.
running ahead of Richard, so he's going to be back in 7th spot. He just argued a bit too much there, I would say.
Oh.
You just cannot be on the outside there, I would say.
No. Well, Strana had the line, so effectively, Strana didn't do anything wrong. I think probably Gerger, I guess from his point of view, he may argue that Strana left no room. But in all fairness,
look at how much space Strana is giving Gerger Baldi
exactly. Although to be fair, you see that Strana did slide.
But look at all the space to the right hand side that Baldi could use. I mean, I've got to say, it's a daft. You know, I'm sure Baldi's a great race driver, but it's a daft place to put your car. You just can't put your car on the outside of a corner like that, unfortunately. And although the viewers can call it whichever way you like, but that's hard racing, and that's what happens. He puts himself in a silly position. Quite frankly, you cannot put yourself on the outside of that corner. I know he's trying to get the outside of the corner, get the inside for the next corner, but really, I think with the extra speed he had over Strana, if he was just a little bit more patient, he would definitely got past anyway. But there you go. These things happen, and Baldi's back down the 7th spot. How did you call it, Scott?
Well, I think you saw that Strana was a little bit sideways, so some people may look at that and think, well, Strana was sideways, but that was pure. I think in many ways it was probably a racing incident. I think Gergo himself, personally, I'm not saying I feel the same. I think Gergo himself may personally think he's hard done by. But
Brugman out of the race. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh dear, Lars is at. Poor
not
Lars.
Not a good 2 laps for Ice Cold, because Brugman and De Veit out of the race in the last couple of laps.
And of course, Strana involved in the incident with Baldi as well. So they've had quite an eventful last couple of laps. But I think overall it's a racing incident. But I think Gergo himself, probably will initially feel himself a little bit hard done by, because of course he may feel that Strana didn't give him room. But then to be fair, if you look at it, Strana was actually sliding wide. So in many ways, Strana, that wasn't intentional, of course. Strana wasn't trying to push Baldi off the track. And as you said, I think really Baldi was trying to put his car around the outside, when really there wasn't really any place to put it. So, like watching here, they get this corner right here where Dino Paolini and Ryan Walker are battling overnight.
It's a case of, but it's a case of, even if it's somebody else's mistake, you know, you put yourself in that position. You don't put yourself in the position. You cannot do that. You've got to put yourself in the position where if something does go wrong, you're not involved, and that was not a good place to put your car. And you make your own luck, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and in some ways, Strana was forced to the inside, and of course that's what put him out of shape, because Baldi tried going around the outside and didn't really, as he came across, didn't really leave Strana much room. So Strana had to go across the curb, and that's what put him sideways, which incidentally then tipped his rear end into Baldi, which forced him across the gravel. So
anyway, I'm sure all the viewers will have the viewers will have something to say about that. And obviously,
someone's off.
Someone off the track there. Who's that? Matt Richards.
Matt Richards.
Oh, he was in a strong 8th position. He's gone straight off the track. Just saw a spoiler disappearing into the gravel, and he's back down to 11th. He allows Dino Paolini, Mr. Quietly, up into 8th spot.
But now he's got the seething mob from Airstream on his tail. He's now got Walker, Munro, and Richards all trying to bear him down. But there's only one more lap to go, so I doubt they're going to make much impact. But I guess we should really go back to the front, because this man, as we predicted, we did say, didn't we? If he could get a gap and pull away, then he would take the race victory. And well, after the shenanigans between both, first of all between Strana and Holm, and then between Strana and Baldi, he's just said, "Yep, strap amongst yourselves, boys. I will just sit here and just pull away at my leisure, and I'll take the victory. Thank you very much." He's not done just yet. He's got still about a few more corners left to go, but it looks as though it's practically almost done and dusted. That's not a commentator's curse, I hope. But Lauritsen obviously showed the pace in race 1, coming back to the field to get a podium, and now he's put that pace to good use with plenty of clean air, and he looks on course in these final few corners to take. I believe I'm not sure. Will this be his second TPS victory, or is it? You have to fill me in on that.
He's got quite a few more than that. He's got a few.
Victory. Well, it'll be another victory, and it'll be thankfully another win for him in.
And he'll take the championship lead still. He'll keep the championship lead. He came in leading the championship from round 1 at Curitiba, and he'll leave Jerez leading the championship also as well. Alexander Lauritsen takes the win in the second race after a great fight back in race 1. The championship leader extends his championship lead. Second spot, again Adrian Holm, 2 second spots. He'll be a little bit disappointed he didn't win a race, but still 2 second spots is a worthy accomplishment as well. Third spot's Eric Strana, fourth Juhard 2-9, and this time, like we were saying, kept himself out of trouble, or wasn't the trouble, as we were saying, and he's finished in 4th spot. 5th spot is Oscar Harwick. 6th spot is Danny Asbury. With 7th spot, Gergo Baldi, only just in 7th spot, because he was just behind Danny Asbury and almost lost that 7th spot as well. So Baldi in 7th with Paolini in 8th, great result for him. 9th spot Ryan Walker, 10th spot John Munro. 11th spot Matt Richards, he was doing so well as well on the final lap, penultimate lap, and he couldn't quite do it. With 13th spot for Scott Cervic. Just waiting for people to come across the line now as Thomas Erzen comes across the line 14th. Angwin in 15th, that's a great recovery drive from him from 28th to 15th. Brandon Warren in 16th, that's a solid result for him after he had a very difficult round at Curitiba. McGlade, again, a solid result, 15th and 17th here today. And behind him we'll find out as the drivers go through on their slowing down lap. 17th spot for Lewis McGlade, who's in 18th spot? Where are you? Come out wherever you are. There you are, Andy Drasker. He's in 18th spot with Ockerclint in 19th spot, and he was fighting with Marcelo Tocco, so I'm going to guess that Marcelo Tocco, no, it's Martin Blaze comes back from the back of the field into 20th spot. Well done for Martin Blaze. I think maybe Tocco went out of the race, did he, in fact?
No, he's come across the line now.
Oh, across the line now.
And we've still got 2 more cars to come across. But here they come, almost in formation. Andy Johns just beats Ivan Navarro to 22nd, and that's it.
Okay. So that's all we have, all our finishers then. Right, we'll be right back after this quick couple of breaks, and we'll be back with the driver interviews. Stick around.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
And welcome back to the Virtual Supertech Series 2014 broadcast, round 2 from Jerez. And we've seen 2 very, very intriguing rounds there. Scott, what's your take on this whole event?
It's been a very successful event. I think we've had some great battles down to the field. I think THR are once again shown a very prominent stance in this championship. I think it's great that the acquisitions from the fallout from Precision have been very substantial. I think very beneficial, especially for THR, because of course Alexander Lauritsen grabbing himself 2 podium, a podium and a victory, has meant that effectively what's intriguing is that he entered the champion. He left round 1 in lead of the championship for Precision. Now he leaves the championship, leaving round 2, but now for THR. So it's quite a contrast. He's gone from one big team to another, but it's certainly the transition doesn't seem to have hindered him too much. In fact, it's actually seemed to have bettered him, because all that pressure's now off, and he now seems to be a bit more relaxed and a bit more kind of free to race how he wants to, and it's quite nice to see him do that. So great performance by everyone who finished well today, and great to see we had victories for both Gerger Baldi, very dominant, and also for Alexander Lauritsen. Great showing from everyone today.
And we had some improved form from Aerostream as well, a nice injection of pace.
Absolutely, great to see them up to the field. Obviously, John Monroe, Ryan Walker with some fantastic qualifying pace and initial pace to grab. I think it was it 4th or 5th in race? I think it was 5th in race 1.
Yeah, 4th.
4th in race 1. Shame to see him a little bit down the field in race 2. I'm sure we'll find out from him in a moment, because he is in our broadcast booth along with many other drivers who have invaded our broadcast booth, as they usually do at the end. But it's always nice to chat to them. And good stuff also from John Monroe. Matt Richards in his battles with Lars Brugman and Andrew Waring also, who was very unlucky. But it's nice to see that teams like Aerostream are being strengthened in that respect, with a few new fresh faces who are bringing some pace and a good injection of experience. And it's nice to see they're actually up there, and hopefully we'll see Aerostream a bit more prominent in not only just VSS but in other championships also.
Okay, so let's head on with the driver interviews then, and we'll kick off with the race 2 winner and the championship leader, Alexander Lauritsen. Alexander, congratulations on your 2nd race win, but it was the first race where you were made to work really hard after a poor qualifying. Just talk about what happened in qualifying there.
Yeah, I was actually on a good lap, but I missed totally the braking point in the last corner. So yeah, so the time was not the best. So yeah, I was need to fight in the race 1, but it's I still get a podium.
Yeah, you fought back very well. I mean, and you obviously came back to finish in third spot. I mean, how pleased were you with that recovery drive?
Yeah, I was really pleased with that. So yeah.
And then you had, of course, some fantastic racing with Hulme and Baldi in that second race. Talk us through it from your point of view.
Yeah, we had a great battle in the whole race, so it's really nice to drive with drivers that was so fair, and it was great.
And you must be pleased with you're obviously the new teammates. You come from position, you come to THR, and you're racing alongside Hulme and Baldi, who are your new teammates, and it was all very clean and very fast.
Yeah, it's really great. We have worked good together with the setup, so yeah, we find some good race setups, and that was great to drive with. So yeah.
So you're taking your first win of the season here, your first win in the Virtual Supertech Series, your 8th win of your TPS career. You lead the championship. You must be confident.
Yeah, I'm. So it's great. Thanks.
That's it, straight from the horse's mouth there, Scott. He's very short, very simple. He's confident going ahead of here. But you've got another driver to interview as well.
I have. I've got Adrian Holm, who's the man who had some fantastic form and 2 second places. You should be delighted with that. Adrian, let's start with race 1. Started on the front row alongside Baldi. Just seemed as though in that race, talk us through it, because you were quick, but Baldi was just that little bit quicker.
He sure was. He was absolutely blitzing us, I think. I had a bit of a problem with my tires. I haven't really figured them out yet. It's very, very, very tricky to keep them under you. Struggled with that in the second race as well. But two second places here is better than I expected.
And then going forwards into race 2, pole position, so fantastic job on that. And then you spent the first half of the race battling with Lauritsen, and that allowed Baldi to come into it. Just talk us through how those battles went on from your point of view, because you seem to be quite hard fought between the three of you in THR.
Yeah, we fought quite hard, but it was fair all the way, and it's so great to have clean battles, And we had very different push to pass strategies, where I used my on the main straight, while they used their on the back straight. So it was very, very strategic in a way, and he got away, and I didn't have the tire quality to get back to him.
And then the turning point in race 2, which effectively, I think, almost cemented second place, was the incident with Strana. How did it play out from your point of view? Because it seemed to lose you a lot of time to Lauritsen in front.
Yeah, I simply didn't see him. I had my eyes on the braking point and the turning point, and in the last second I saw that he dived on the inside. So I tried to make some avoiding action, because I was committed to the inside. But yeah, I need to watch the replay to get my verdict on it,
And so 2 second places today, and of course a front race starts including a pole. You have to be confident going forward that you can take at least one race victory this season.
Yeah, I hope so. It would be nice to get a win here as well. But we'll see. I haven't figured out these tires yet, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. Maybe in the later part of the seasons.
Well, hopefully you may have gone some way to figure them out by the time we get to Fuji in a couple of weeks. But until then, well done on the pole and also the 2 podiums. And hopefully, sooner rather than later, we'll see you at the top step in another race in the future this season. So congratulations for today, Adrian.
Thank you.
Ryan, who do you have?
I've got Eric Strana, who was one of the drivers involved in that great race 2 scrap, and was involved, of course, in that pivotal moment in race 2, which ended, of course, Adrian's chances of getting that win there. We'll talk about that in just a second. But Eric, the first race, obviously a poor qualifying in both races, and then coming through the field, and talk us through what happened on the exit of turn 4.
What else was there to say apart from getting the right retire at the gravel? Yeah, I saw that Alexander was hunting me, so it was like, oh crap, better try to get a bit of a gap before the back straight so he doesn't get a big slipstream, and just tried a bit too much and then spun it and tapped the wall a bit, and yeah, from then it was just a recovery drive to 10th, so I didn't lose anything off my qualifying pace, which I kind of have to improve, but and then it wasn't that bad as it could have been. I didn't get a puncture or anything, which was lucky, which I had done before when I tried that, if we should call it that.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously the second qualifying, you qualified again down the field, but a fantastic drive through the field, really exciting stuff. And you got right into that lead battle also as well, just as it was beginning to break up a little bit. And talk us through what happened with yourself and Hulme at that final corner.
Well, yeah, like you said, I didn't get a good qualifying lap again. But actually, thanks for messing up the starting procedure, because that really helped me, because I gained at least 2, 3, 4 positions in turn one both races. But yeah, I managed to catch Lauritsen and Holm after Baldy had gone off in the last corner. Yeah, I don't know why, but I did the same thing with Oscar Hardwick before. Everyone seems to brake a lot earlier than I do there, so I could brake a lot later. And yeah, I realized Adrian braked really early, so it was like, well, either go in the back of him or try to overtake. So overtake, and he didn't see me obviously, and that set me back quite a bit, and allowed. Baldy almost got past me, but I just slammed him. I pushed it past to get away from him, and then it was just hope that maybe Holm and Larson would make a mistake each, but that didn't happen. So Jeff was third, considering I got qualified 12th. But yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know what would have happened.
If you sort out your qualifying form, do you think you can win a race this season?
Perhaps. I mean, I gained 9 places over this time, so if I qualify 8 next time, I should be in a good.
You'd be -1.
Yeah, exactly. I'll finish ahead of everyone, like twice. But yeah.
Before the race even begins.
Yeah, exactly. I'll lap everyone or something.
All right, thank you, Eric. Thank you for that, and good luck in the. Obviously, you need to work on that qualifying pace, but the race pace is perfectly excellent. So, good luck in the rest of the season, Scott. Now you've got Gergo Baldi, who won race 1 but struggled in race 2.
I have indeed. Gergo, let's have a talk about that. Then race 1, pole position, and it's pretty much business as usual, kind of leaving off from where you left off in Curitiba in race 2. So just talk us through that, because effectively, I know probably the answer will be it wasn't, but it looked pretty easy, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so it was easy. Fair enough.
Everyone was fighting behind me, so I could pull away and then watch for the tires and fuel. So it was good.
And then, of course, race 2, you qualified around the front again. I think it was the second or third you qualified, but you initially tried to grab the lead from your teammate Adrian, but that didn't quite pull that one off. And then you fell back a little bit whilst Alexander and Adrian battled amongst each other, but you were slightly able to come back. And just talk us through how the battles were from your point of view. It looked pretty enjoyable with the three of you out there on track fighting for the same position.
I think it was fun. So I was a bit noob, where I was behind the first and I almost hit him always because I had the shorter brake distance than the other, so it was close always to hit them, but yeah, I go to the gravel instead, so.
Yeah, just talk us through that also, because of course you were looking pretty close. So just a couple of laps in the end, you seemed to just misjudge your braking point. Just talk us through what happened from your point of view. Was that the case? Just misjudging your braking point?
Yeah, it was. I missed it, and I almost hit him. I don't know who was him. I think Adrian was who I almost hit. So yeah, I missed the braking point.
And also, we can't obviously talk to you without mentioning the incident between yourself and Eric Strana. Of course, it looked like a racing incident between the pair of you, but what was your take on it on that one?
Well, I tried to overtake him on the outside, but it's a very hard corner alone too. But with 2 cars, it was really hard. So I think it was a racing incident too.
Good stuff. Well, of course, going forwards for the rest of the season, of course, you've taken 2 wins out of the 4 races we've had so far. Championship chances must be looking good, mustn't it? Of course, your teammate Alex leads it, but how do you see it from going forwards? Do you think you've got a good chance of the championship?
Well, season starts looks good, so if we can continue this form, then we can fight for the win.
Excellent. Well, fingers crossed your form can continue, and hopefully we'll see you back to winning ways as we saw you today once again in the next round at Fuji. So fingers crossed you can come back to that one. So well done, at least for the victory and the pole position for today. Ryan, I believe you have one of the 4 men from today who really put on a pleasantly surprising performance, especially in race 1, Ryan Walker.
I have got Ryan Walker, and Ryan has been threatening this kind of pace for quite a while now, and is tipped by none other than Robert Wiesenmuller for a podium here today at Jerez. Didn't quite manage that, but a fantastic 4th place for you, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm really happy with my performance today. Race pace is looking good, and qualifying pace I was really happy with. During the week, testing was going really well, and plus, I think the team's done even better with the additions of John, Andrew, and Chris as well, and I think that's really helped us get better results today and prove that we can challenge at the front and that we can challenge in the front in the future, and hopefully we can carry on this good form from here on in.
That was fantastic stuff, and just, I mean, you raced at TPS for quite a while, but never being that high up. I mean, how was it fighting with such big names as Lauritsen and Strana, Wiesemuller and Baldi and the rest of it?
It gave me a really good buzz. It just it gave me more confidence that I could be up at the front challenging the likes of Wiesemuller, Strand, Tveit, Lauritsen, Kielov. The list goes on, and it gave me a good buzz.
Absolutely, and of course, in the second race wasn't quite so impressive, but that first race really gave you confidence for the rest of the season, like you say. I mean, the rest of this, the tracks coming up, obviously that you know about. Which one of those tracks stands out for you? You think you can do well at, that can get that elusive podium?
I'm unsure, to be honest, but I think Fuji I could get a good result at, because I've raced at the track before on R Factor, but hopefully that can help me.
Fantastic, Ryan. Well, good luck in the rest of the season, and congratulations on your result today. Bit of a breakthrough race for Ryan Walker here today, Scott. But you've got Oscar Harwick.
Indeed, another breakthrough race, of course, for the guys. Of course, he raced in the Division 2 of the Virtual Carrera Cup, but of course he made his Virtual Supertech Series debut today, and let's talk to Oscar about that. Oscar, good to see you here in TPS again. Of course, you did last weekend Virtual Carrera Cup and took a victory in Division 2. How did you find your debut here in the Virtual Supertech Series? Much different cars than you're used to that you've raced before in sim racing, I'm sure.
Certainly. So a bit of a baptism of fire as far as game stock car goes. I've driven the sim plenty before, but actually getting to grips with the cars when you're pushing them for a lap time was new to me, and I've done a bit of practice. Still wobbly, but I mean it was nice because I felt a noticeable improvement from race 1 to race 2 in my consistency and my pace, and it was fantastic and really refreshing to be racing with the guys up front on both occasions, and I got given room, no real incidents to speak of, and just generally enjoyed myself.
Let's talk about race 1. You had a decent enough start, but then you seem to just fall back a little bit throughout the race, and then you seem to come good through the end of race 1. Just talk to, was that just getting used to the car and just a little bit off the pace? Was it, as you said, like more of a baptism of fire, trying to get used to going through the pack, or was it just tyre conservation? What was it that caused you to drop off in the first half of race 1?
Very much just a error in consistency on my part, and basically a lack of ability to keep it doing the lap times I could do every single lap. So I'd sort of be very on-off, or have a mistake, have a half spin, which I had a couple of in the first race, and that was all. Like you say, it came good at the end when I sort of found my rhythm again, and the tyres were still there because I hadn't been going very quickly and using them up. So yeah, again, 9th place, which was given to me a bit by Kielov running out of fuel, was lovely, and then the 5th in race 2 was surprising and really, really great.
Absolutely, and in race 2, actually, you got a really great start, and then you went forwards, and then it kind of you were able to kind of stay there thereabouts. You're mainly battling with the likes of like Robert Wiesemuller and Danny Asbury and that kind of thing, and those kind of guys around there. How was that almost in the middle of the top 10? Were they enjoyable battles, or was it kind of just a case of just running your own race and just seeing what happens?
They were enjoyable battles. I mean, I wanted to try and run it almost as a thinking man's race, just to keep myself on the track and get Satellite some good points today, and I think Brandon, who was my teammate, did a good job of wrapping a couple up further down in the top 15, top 20 sort of area. So it was a thinking man's race, but the battles were enjoyable. I mean, Rob gave me room, Danny gave me room. When I raced with other people in race 1 as well, plenty of room was given, so no complaints at all.
And just very quickly, last question. Going forwards, of course, to the next race in Fuji, are we likely to see an improvement in pace? How do you feel the chances are? I mean, obviously, decent results with 2 top 10s. Going forward into Fuji, you must be feeling a lot more confident for a slightly better results for Fuji in the rest of the season.
Certainly, if I could maybe stabilise closer to the top 5, so if I got to 6th, I'd be a lot more happy. But I started out with my debut as a top 10. I got a top 5 after that, so I guess if I wanted to aim really high, I can maybe start aiming for podiums and mixing it up with the now somewhat elite THR teams at the front.
Well, fingers crossed that's not too far away, but for the moment, 5th and 9th, well done on your VSS debut. Hopefully we'll see more of the same and improvements going forwards, Oscar.
Thank you.
And I believe Ryan has got one more driver. I believe that's the magnificent Dino Paolini.
Hello, Dino. Well, we don't speak to Dino too much. We don't speak about Dino too much. We branded you Mr. Softly and Mr. Quietly in the broadcast. Dino, just quietly going about your job and getting those top 10s.
Yeah, hello, thank you. The reason you usually don't speak about me is because I drive, I'm not really driving very good in the series. Was always the case in the past and was the same thing in Curitiba. And started really the same way today. I absolutely caught me off guard with the standing starts. Had not enough fuel. I had huge problems getting the cars off the line with standing start. Never bothered to really fix that because I thought I wouldn't ever need it. Well, yeah, I knew immediately I had to not enough fuel in the first race. I tried to short shift and everything went much slower than usually because of that, and I still had to pit in the end. So I was really angry about the first race. Mm-hmm. And second race started the same way, lost 5-6 places on a standing start. But I guess someone needs to punch me in the face before a race, then I can actually do a good race. Rest of it was really fun. Got a lot of places back, actually passed some guys. Was really fun race, the second one. Great battle with John and also with Ryan and some others. Really fair driving. Was really fun, and yeah, 8th place is nice for me.
Yeah, very good indeed. And of course, we've seen you be strong in other championships outside of TPS. I mean, what is it that's been so difficult about getting good results in the VSS?
It's mainly because I'm not very good at shorter races and with a lot of guys in close proximity and everything. It's pretty much the stuff I have to improve a lot. That's really the main reason. And usually I'm much faster in practice than in the races, so that's a problem I have. And yeah, some bad luck in the series for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah. I remember season 2012, lots of bad luck. Always seemed to be poor Dino that was involved in it if something happened. And obviously you've got 8 plays a day. You must be aiming for more top 10s throughout the season then.
Yeah, I tried. There's a lot of stuff happening in the races. And in qualifying, it seems I can get very near to top 10. I think I was 11th both times today. That was quite nice. So yeah, I'm trying it. But unfortunately, I'm missing the next one in Fuji. Really a shame that I have to miss that. But yeah, I'm trying it in the other races I'm doing.
Well, fantastic, Dino. We'll see you in 2014 then. And good luck in the rest of the season. Now, Scott, you've got Danny Asbury quickly. That's our final interview.
Absolutely. Let's have a chat to Danny boy over here. Danny, decent stuff for you today. Again, 2 top 10. I say 2 top 10 finishes. You had decent enough qualifying in race 1, but you ran out of fuel at the end. Just talk us to what happened from your point of view in race 1, because it was a decent enough run anyway, but just disappointing just to not have enough in the tank to get it across the line.
Yeah, it's going to be something I would be kicking myself for a while now, because really it was just only maybe 2 liters in it. I think some of the drivers were alluded to the standing start were completely caught me out, because I'm notoriously bad at standing start. So I was in a bit of a pickle in both races, because obviously the first race I lost position, and then it was even worse in the second race. But yeah, I mean, the fuel there at the end, I knew I was going to be cutting it very close. I tried to short shift and do things like that, but on the final lap, it just couldn't get around the final, I think, sector and a half, and wound up getting the DNF, which is very unfortunate because I had, a 7th on the table. So definitely something hopefully I won't repeat in the future.
And of course, qualifying for race 2, 4th place on the grid, fantastic effort. And your start, if we're honest, wasn't so stellar. You dropped back a couple of positions, but you still managed to finish, I think it was 6th or 7th, so you had a great effort from there. Talk us through race 2, a couple of battles for the likes of Oscar and Ryan as well, and Malik, and Robert for a moment. Just talk us through the race, because it seemed to be you had a not as eventful as race 1, but still a fairly quiet and calm race to another points finish.
Well, Q2, I was kind of disappointed not to take pole position. I think that was on the table for me. Just really couldn't link up Sector 3, but yeah, at the start of the race, again, the standing start, I knew I was kind of caught out by those things. So pretty much my goal is just to get the car off the line. I think I will wind up losing about 2 or 3 positions. But the big unfortunate moment from race 2 was obviously my contact with Robert in Sector 2. Now, I mean, me and
just talk us through that.
Yeah, sure.
Talk us through that, because we did see Rob drop down the field. Was that contact between yourself and Rob that caused that?
Yeah, I hit his rear quarter panel in obviously the quick corner in Sector 2. It's really unfortunate because Rob's one of my buddies, but we've had kind of a dicey on-track relationship so far. I mean, he got me obviously at Curitiba, and then I really ruined his race here, which I'm very sorry about here at Jerez. Like I said, the car is very, around that corner, the very fast left-hander. Obviously, the cars are very vulnerable. Even a little tap like that would send Robert around, and that's exactly what happened. After that, I mean, pretty much my tires slowly fell off from that point out. I mean, I've got to find a way to keep kind of the tires on the car better. Because like you said, Scott, I'm there in the Q sessions, but during the race, guys like Strana can just walk off with me. And he's got pretty much the same setup I was running, so it's definitely something I have to work on moving forward.
Of course, we know, we talked about briefly, of course, you had the link up now. Of course, Optimum and Ice Cold have the link up, and that's great to have that. Just a final question, of course, we also touched on the fact that you switched wheels now back from Fanatec back to your beloved Logitechs. That seems to have had a really profound effect on your pace. You seem to have returned to kind of form of old that you used to have before you went to the Fanatec. So how good is it to be using a Logitech wheel once again compared to the Fanatecs that you had before?
Well, to be honest with you, I used to use an ECCI Traxxer 6000. And now I've switched to a Frex wheel. Now, the thing is, the Frex wheel does use the circuitry of a Logitech, so it pretty much has that very fast response time, and that's pretty much the key to it. I think with the Fanatic, not only does it have a slower response time with the motor and whatnot, but I also think I kind of ruined the motor a little bit. I think the motor got overheated and just worn out, and that took at least maybe 0.7 of a second off, maybe to even a full second. So I'm even still learning how to use this wheel, because I do think a 48.6 was on the cards for me. I just couldn't really get everything linked up properly. But yeah, it's night and day. I mean, the big thing now is not the pace is back. It's just to learn how to keep the tires on the car throughout a race, and then I think I can go for podiums and race wins.
Good job. Well, hopefully that's not too far away, but obviously for the moment, of course, great job to get the points you did today, and hopefully it's a good step in the right direction.
Thank you, Scott.
And I believe that's all the interviews, Ryan, so I guess we should close this out.
He does close us out. And just final thoughts there, Scott, after listening to those interviews. Anything that strikes you from those interviews? There's some interesting points, especially the little bit of needle between Asbury and Wiesenmuller, it seems, has appeared. Because, they're good friends off track, but on track at the moment, they seem to be just a little bit interference.
Well, a healthy rivalry never hurt anyone, I guess, as long as it doesn't go too far, of course. We have seen examples both in real and sim racing that, of course, a rivalry can go too far. But I think, I think those two are both sensible enough to know where the limit is. I think I said they're friends off the track, so eventually I don't expect them to get to the point where they're going to be doing silly stuff on track to each other, like pushing each other off, because I think that's not in either Danny or Ryan or Robert's nature. I don't believe but either driver is of that kind of caliber or would pull off such a move. So I think they'll be fine as long as they can just keep it sensible on the track, and of course if they can be amicable afterwards off track and just obviously handshake, shake hands afterwards and say apologies for this, apologies for that. That should be fine, but it could make for a good story going forward throughout the season. Of course, Robert.
It'd be a great story if they shook hands, because one's in Philadelphia and one's in Germany. So that'd be really good.
Pretty long handshake, not in terms of the length of the handshake, because the length of the I'm not going to length of the arm. That's just pretty silly. Stretch Armstrong, of course.
Anyway, we've got to finish up here, guys. I'll just remind you what's coming up in the Touring Pro Series in the next couple of weeks. Of which we haven't told you enough, but we cannot tell you too much about it because it's so good. Virtual Touring Masters is at Salzburg Ring on Wednesday, and that is the second round of that series of fantastic DRM cars. Spectacular to watch, spectacular to drive. Very, very scary machines indeed. Next week, next Saturday, same time as this broadcast, Virtual Carrera Cup at Lebanon. And that's going to be round 2 of that 2014 championship with lots and lots of intrigue in that as well. Spade Racing coming good, but not leading the championship at the moment. It's Chris Butcher leading the championship somehow, with all the mix-up in that first couple of races. Hopefully set itself down for Lebanon. And then after that, we go to Cascavel for the Virtual Mini Challenge. That's a week on Tuesday. Make sure to tune in for that. That's on Tuesday night on the 10th of December. So today we saw 2 very intriguing races. Wins for THR, Gergo Baldi and Alexander Lauritsen. Lauritsen now leads the championship by 13 points on 103 from Baldi, who's on 90. Horn was on 86. So that's the top 3. It's THR 1, 2, 3 at the top of that championship. I've been Ryan Callan. I've been commentating alongside Scott Woodwiss. Thank you to him. And this has been a Virtual Supertech Series 2014. You can come back and watch us in 2 weeks' time. For now, bye-bye.
Bye bye.